Wait, no. You didn't see it.
How'd you fuck it up already? No way, bro.
That was a one-frame moment.
way.
Catch it if you can. Fuck me. Listen, I kept the secret all day. I did promo all fucking day. I haven't said shit.
The instant we went live.
Oh, God.
Oh my god. That's almost as funny as every line Tina Goldstein's ever said.
Hi, everybody. We're here. It'll still be a surprise for podcasts. Fuck y'all.
Fuck you guys.
No, we are here. We're a little bit all over the place because we've been doing a lot of research for tonight's episode.
Research?
Research.
Okay.
No, we... God damn it. I can't really talk about... I can't really talk about what we're doing until we start recording. But we're excited. We're here.
Let's give it at least like 5 minutes.
Yeah,
we've told a lot of people.
Let's let people roll in.
We told a lot of people to be
We
here.
were actually, what we were doing was re-listening to some of the episodes of the podcast before we before we started tonight. So we were kind of listening and
reliving memories of
some...
They slap and walk and they slap and they walk.
Yeah, that when James literally lost his mind about at Knight's Tale.
I swear to God, I was right.
You were right. I said
correct.
you were right.
I needed it to be recorded so I could be vindicated.
There's been a lot. There's honestly been a lot of really solid moments.
Got a lot of memories in this show.
And for those of you that don't know who haven't been here recently, we've actually done, next time will be our 100th episode of this podcast. So it's been a journey, and we were going back and reliving some of that journey just now.
Having a laugh too, boy howdy.
Which is why I fucked it up, because we were literally just...
We're having too much fun.
We were enjoying ourselves.
We're having too much fun.
It's also been the hardest episode to prepare for, because we already, we keep trying to jump ahead and we start talking about things, and then we're like, no, we gotta wait. So we're really excited for tonight. In case you haven't gotten that vibe, it might be one of my favorite podcast episodes that we do. Not as much as the 100th episode, which is still a secret. It's still a secret. I'm not going to tell anyone. You guys don't get to vote for the next 6 episodes? No, because we're only doing 1, so 4 for the next 3. For the next 3 episodes, you guys don't get to vote on a movie. If you're tuning in live. What?
How many did I sign up to watch?
No, well, because we have this episode, we have the 100th episode, and then we already decided what our Halloween movie was going to be.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
So, but then I guess for the
dumb.
For the part 2 of the Halloween, there will have been a vote, so there will only be 3 episodes before the audience gets to vote again.
Okay, the math checks out. The
math was rough there at the beginning, so...
Really dodgy territory.
Yeah, I don't...
Boy.
I don't know. I guess we can talk for a couple more minutes before I get a solid 5. Because I said 8 p.m. We always start 5 minutes early with the starting suit. But no, we've done a lot of talking in preparation for how we kind of wanted to do this 100th episode extravaganza. If you will, like how we wanted to format it, what episodes we wanted to go where. What we settled on was doing this special episode, which is not a movie review, guys. It's not a movie review tonight. So this special episode is what we kind of decided to do for the 99th episode, so that the 100th episode, which you're not going to want to miss, it's going to be an extra long podcast recording. We're not going to take a break.
We're just going to go
in the middle.
We're going hard.
2, it's probably going to be one of the best episodes of the podcast.
Top 3 easy.
Ever. It'll be right up there with your Greases, your Titanics, your apparently Cinderellas, because I forgot how fucking good that fucking episode was. I love that movie so much. But yeah, all right, it's 8:05. You ready to kick this party off?
Yeah, I'm sending them the link out.
Who are you Lincoln? Abe Lincoln? Lincoln?
Abe Lincoln from the other Mel Brooks movie. Robin Hood Men in Tights.
Oh, I was like, where are we going?
Blinken. Every time he says, "Hey Blinken," they go, "Abe Lincoln." What?
I love that movie.
That movie's fucking great.
I'm sad.
And if we had watched it, it would do well tonight.
It would, but okay, we gotta get started. You ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
Alright, are you watching?
Yeah, it's in this tiny corner.
Oh, okay.
Click, click. Alright.
Just make sure you're live, because otherwise it doesn't count as a live view.
Okay. Oh, I see. Alright.
One more thing I want to make sure that I have is that.
Yep, do that. I'm gonna stand for this intro. Get my stretches in.
Oh, we have my friend Bree in chat. See, this is what happens when I change it to live.
This is also what happens when I text Bree in advance and be like, "Hey, you gotta watch this because this shit's gonna be hilarious."
I mean, to be fair, I posted it on.
Oh yeah, she said that she's seen it.
Fuck me. All right, here we go. You ready?
My loins are girded.
Now remember, we have to do like a proper intro and explain what we're doing tonight because podcasts can't see, so we also have to talk about and make sure.
Oh, I'm gonna vivid descriptions.
All right, here we go. On your mark, get set. 3, 2, 1.
Sometimes you do a show and you do that show for so long that you don't recognize how quickly a promise you made is on the horizon. The promise I made is still on the horizon. But
I'm
tonight,
so excited.
Tonight, in the world of CityWavesCinema, we are going to sit here with our live YouTube chat, and regardless of what they say, make our own tier list of every movie we have watched for the show so far.
Oops.
America is bad at being a switcher. It's fine.
I am bad at clicking buttons tonight, apparently.
It's because your giant cup's in the way.
It is partially that.
So we have ourselves a tier list. We have the movie posters from every movie we've watched for the channel so far. All the way back to our first episode of those godforsaken Harry Potter movies. And it's a tier list from S to F. S being the highest rating a movie can get. If I were a betting man, I would say not a single movie makes it into S tier because we have to come to a consensus about how good the movie is. Once we are done making the tier list for every movie we've watched, we're going to make a second tier list. And this second tier list is going to be a tier list for our own episodes and which episodes we think were the best. Which is really interesting because each movie warrants 2 podcast episodes because we can talk about movies for hours. It's kind of what we studied in school and everything. So we have a lot to say about most of these things. So I think the more interesting tier list is actually going to be which episodes of the show we think are the best. But that's going to come later. So
our chat's already popping off. I want to add in here for this. This is going to be the 99th episode of the podcast.
When it comes out in podcast format, it will be episode 99.
We will take a break for stream to switch lists and for us to get like drinks and stuff like that. The podcast episode will be one episode. Next time will be the 100th episode of this podcast. That is going to be another one that you guys are not going to want to miss because James is right. He made a promise.
I fucked up is what I did.
He made a promise about what movie we would watch for the 100th episode. It's one he swore he would never watch.
That's right. It's Human Centipede.
No. You won't get to know what that is till that episode drops. But it is going to be one of the best episodes of CityWavesCinema. All right, but we are here to discuss movies tonight. All the movies that we've watched on this channel, which is 49 of them final answer, because we've done the
math a few times.
I
would like to make a suggestion.
What would you like to make the suggestion of?
I would like to start with the oldest and work our way towards the most recent episodes.
Okay. So we've got to find it in here. The first movie that we ever watched,
Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone.
Yes, which is one of these Harry Potter. Nope.
They're so small.
That's Chamber of Secrets. There he is. All right.
Ah, yes.
So we have Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone right here.
Okay. let me start by saying.
Okay, James gets to go first. Go first.
Harry Potter as a series is one that is so deeply beloved by its audience, and it's a billion-dollar franchise, and there are so many wonderful actors and performances that have been put on. It's a beloved franchise.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, the books are, in my opinion, more beloved. True. As they allow for much more in the way of character growth, development. You get to see more things when you read the books and you see it in your mind's eye. And I don't want to sit here, rate every Harry Potter movie, because we watched them all. We talked about them all on the show. I don't want to sit here and talk about the movies and have to consider the books, because the books do not affect what you see on the screen.
See, I
have to separate them because I haven't read the books.
And that's fair. And guess what? In this instance, I can objectively do that because I have favorite Harry Potter movies, and I can tell you where I would rank them all. It's just when we get into the episodes, that's when I start talking about, oh, the books this, the books that. But, like, objectively, no, I can sit here and tell you which movies are my favorite. In fact, I've done that on our episodes. You know that Goblet of Fire is one of my least favorite ones, and if any of them could be redone and refilmed, I'd say it'd be that one. But we're not talking about that one yet. We're talking about Philosopher's Stone.
So the Philosopher's Stone.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think this is the worst Harry Potter movie.
I don't think so either.
There has to be a best Harry Potter movie and there has to be a worst Harry Potter movie. I don't think this is the worst one. I think this is a low budget children's movie that is lauded as one of the better movies that's ever existed. And I think that's unfair because I think they could have done much more with more money, more backing from the studios, and it could have been a better movie. I want to put this movie directly into C as an average because I think it is fine.
I'll agree with you. I don't think it's the best Harry Potter movie. I also certainly don't think it's the worst Harry Potter movie. For me, I don't know if I can put it as C, though, just looking at some of the other things on this list.
Listen, there's a lot of movies that we are going to disparately argue about in here. But I can tell you, there's a couple that are going to find their way directly into F tier instantly. So I also think that we should start by starting in the middle, either B or C tier for a few movies before we really feel out, and then we can go back and rearrange. We
can move. I'll compromise on a C for.
I want to start with C because I think it had a much higher potential than it lived up to, and I think it's just a bit of a shame.
I agree. I can agree with that. We can put it for C now. I'm gonna probably argue for B later. I'm not saying A or S, definitely not, but I can.
Well, you see, the problem with it is that the story was mediocre, the characters didn't have enough time to get developed, and also the graphics were maybe the worst ever. So,
but that's a sign of the times. It was 2001.
It was 2001, and they didn't have enough money to make the graphics good. The first time the graphics get good in the movies is in Goblet of Fire. That's when the graphics start to be like, oh, they're spending money on this shit.
See, I'd argue it would be Prisoner of Azkaban.
Well, I'm not saying that they were actually good. I'm saying that's when they started to get good. Prisoner of Azkaban is probably my favorite one, but that's not next. What's next is Chamber of Secrets.
It is Chamber of Secrets.
So find that one.
I've already got that one. That
Chamber of Secrets has one of the most dog shit ass stories of all the fucking.
Whoa! Wait the fuck up! What? Why?
Now think about this.
Oh my god! Why?
Think about this. Everyone hates Harry Potter in that movie. Not a soul likes him. And it's not his fault. It's because J.K. Rowling wrote that he's a bad man. Also, the sneaky snake gets out and about into the school, and Dumbledore knows about it. No. Dumbledore fucking knows about the goddamn snake, and he doesn't do a single fucking thing about it, and he lets children hunt it down.
Can I just talk about the fact that you reduced the basilisk, one of, like, not even just Harry Potter, but one of, like, the most regarded, like, monsters in, like,
In all
fantasy
monster
lore
lore?
to a sneaky snake?
He is. Is he not a sneaky snake? Is he not a sneaky snake? No one fucking sees him, and when they do, they get petrified. And he lets it happen! He just lets it happen! God damn it, it's fucking terrible!
I was listening to a Harry Potter theory today on YouTube. I watched it last night, but I was intoxicated, so I had to rewatch it again today.
Dumbledore's a piece of shit.
It was about Dumbledore's life, because, mad respect, because...
Rest in peace, Michael Gambon. That happened earlier this week, and I'm very
Sir Michael
sad about
Gambon passed away this week. I'm R.I.P., like, much love, much respect. But let's talk about Dumbledore, who is honestly one of the most complex characters in literary history. From start to finish in his life. Maybe not in the core Harry Potter series, but when you break down his whole life, it's severely complicated. But to talk about the fact that Harry mentions in the books that he felt like Dumbledore was trying to give him chances to, like, go at Voldemort himself. Like, set it up, which is not a good thing. I'm not arguing that anything Dumbledore does ever is a good thing. But I think that's why. And what's worse is James isn't wrong, because
This is also the movie with Gilderoy Lockhart, who's a giant piece of shit.
I forgot about Gilderoy briefly. There is a lot of bad things in this movie, but I think to be fair, the actor that does Gilderoy Lockhart, one of the best performances
Kenneth Branagh?
in Harry Potter history.
Well done to him. Listen, they got Chris Columbus in on this thing, man, and he is a good director, okay? Chris Columbus is a good director. I will say, and that's why I said specifically that in this movie the story is dog shit. Some of the acting performances in the early Harry Potter movies, where people are literally giving it their all, are really, really good. There's some really, really good performances that come out of these movies. It can't be denied.
Absolutely.
At the same time, you can have a really great performance to a terrible, terrible fucking script.
Okay, is it the script that's awful or the actual plot for you?
And that's hard because you have to separate plot of movie from plot of book. And I know that plot of book is supposedly better, but plot of movie is condensed and shit.
I will say in this one, this is probably one of my least favorite Harry Potter books.
Wasn't this also the one where Voldemort was on the back of the guy's head?
No, that's Philosopher's Stone.
Oh, that's Philosopher's Stone?
This is the one where he's in a book. Oh my god, okay.
All right. I want you to say the whole plot of this movie out loud and tell me it's not a fucking sham.
What I love about it is sometimes if you take fantasy stuff completely out of context, like any of them, Lord of the Rings, anything, but like just saying like, no, this is the one where Voldemort is in a book and not on the back of guy's head, that sentence is just so like...
It's pretty silly, isn't it?
Contextually bizarre, like that it's like, oh, okay, this is...
In this movie, the bad guy is in a book. There's an evil snake that the headmaster of the school knows about and doesn't do anything about. He also lets all the teachers think it's Harry's fault that the snake is out here fucking up the school.
But you also have, like, the flying car, the Whomping Willow, Aragog. Like, there's a lot of good shit in this one, too.
The Aragog sequence is pretty sick.
This is the one where Harry basically tells Lucius Malfoy he can go fuck himself as a 12-year-old. Mad fucking respect.
Listen, sometimes you have really good performances, but your overall plotline is dog shit.
Okay, can we agree? If I were to rank Philosopher's Stone B, it's at C right now, I would put Chamber of Secrets as C.
I'd put Chamber of Secrets at D.
Okay, so again, we're gonna compromise. It's got C. All the movies end up in C tier.
What's the next one?
Prisoner of Azkaban, which is already
Prisoner
right
of Azkaban has Sirius Black in it, yes?
Yes.
So, with the introduction of one of my favorite characters in all of Harry Potter, and my favorite actor to be in a Harry Potter film, This one's going to take a straight shot into B for me. Also, isn't this the introduction of even more of the Legion of Evil Bitches?
It is. It's also we got the new director, which we both loved.
Alfonso Cuarón. Yeah, because his direction is just there's a significant jump in quality from the first 2 Harry Potter movies to the third one, because Chris Columbus is good, but he made 2 children's movies and one of them was bad. And in Prisoner of Azkaban, we stopped making children's movies and we started making cinema. And in Prisoner of Azkaban, there's more experimental camera angles. There's more interesting things done with sound design and lighting and themes and moods. And it's overall a better movie. Also, the ethereal plot of Azkaban as this mythological prison that's a hellscape that you only hear things about. You don't even fucking see it in this movie, do you?
No, you don't see it till Bellatrix gets out.
Right. So it's another facet of good storytelling to have this location that you don't get to see, but people know about, and they know it's this horrible, awful place, and it's just looming, ever present in the background of the movie. And I don't remember exactly the plot line of this movie.
Sirius Black, we find out that Sirius...
Is that when he escapes?
He escapes, and then we get to the whole, like, plot line of Peter Pettigrew and everything at the end. So this one also comes with a huge plot twist that, like...
Oh, yeah, that Scabbers is Peter Pettigrew.
Yeah, and that he didn't die, and that Sirius is innocent. So, like, a huge...
This is a easy B for me. If not sneaking its way into A for launching the franchise into a new tier of excellence.
There's a lot of changes that happened between 2 and 3. They clearly got a bigger budget.
Yeah.
We get the new Dumbledore, because unfortunately...
Oh yeah, Michael Gambon stepped in.
Yeah, unfortunately, we lost the first Dumbledore in the second film. He passed away. He was very old, so that's fair. We get the bigger set. We get the Hogwarts that'll stay with us for the rest of the films, but we got a bigger set. They actually start using a castle.
We get Lupin. We
get Lupin, who's one of the best characters in Harry Potter history. The CGI goes up. This is when CGI really started picking up with the Dementors, Buckbeak. Like, that whole flight Harry takes on Buckbeak is absolutely one of my favorite scenes of all time. Like, there's a lot of really great, amazing things that happen in this one. I'd put this one in an easy A, if not an S for me, so we're gonna probably have to compromise at an A, and that'll be the first...
It's the first A-tier movie is Prisoner of Azkaban.
First A movie is Prisoner of Azkaban, and honestly, it's my favorite one for a lot of... It's my favorite Harry Potter movie, for a lot of reasons, mainly because, if you're new here, I love more than I love, like, most things. Like, I love couples and shipping, and this one just has a lot of really cute Ron and Hermione moments, and they're my favorite couple to ship of all time.
Which one's the one where they just have a tiff for the whole movie?
Ron and Hermione?
Yeah.
That's
where they just have a fight.
That's Half-Blood Prince, because he dates Lavender.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, no, I'm very happy putting this one in A, because I think it's...
Okay.
I think it's really, really good.
I'll tolerate that.
Goblet
Next up is Goblet of Fire.
Now,
here's a good thing about Goblet of Fire.
Here's a good thing? There's a good thing?
The rating is PG-13. It's much more intense. It's much more interesting.
They had to give it a PG-13. Like, people die.
It's also one of the dumbest fucking movies. We take a minute to just step back from one of the most built-up villains in cinema history. Bigger than Sauron, bigger than any bad guy that you've seen in Star Wars. Voldemort is the guy, right?
He's in this one.
Yes, he's in this one. And at the end, he's sort of pulling the strings on the way the movie goes. But until you get to the end of the movie, we just take a quick side trip to talk about having a tournament. So we get the fucking other schools, and we get the Hogwarts song. And it's all so fucking stupid.
Hogwarts, huggy, Hogwarts.
Fucking dog shit fucking story.
Please.
Why did we have a fucking sports movie in the middle of this fucking epic hero's journey tale, and then we fucking kill Cedric at the end of it, and you have what is maybe one of the saddest scenes in a Harry Potter movie when Cedric's dad is just openly weeping My boy! They killed my boy! One of the greatest scenes in the movie is the saddest scene in the series, and it's at the tail end of this dog shit movie.
I will say Goblet of Fire is easily one of my least favorite Harry Potter. It has one of the messed up scenes, which everyone is a Harry Potter fan already knows about with Dumbledore. James fell on the ground. The hair.
It's so bad.
I'm not going to rant very much about the hair because I've talked about the hair 1,000 times.
You hate their hair for no reason.
It's bad.
It's just long.
Fred and George's hair is also bad. It doesn't match the character descriptions. And what I love about this one is so many people got upset about it. There's a drastic shift.
Then they all cut their hair.
Everybody got a haircut for the 5th one. But I will say, I also dislike the plot of the Goblet of Fire for a lot of reasons. One, the Triwizard Tournament as a whole concept is so inherently a flawed idea, and people
so dumb.
People have been dissecting it and taking it apart and making arguments. The magical contract. Why couldn't Harry just be pulled out of the tournament? This, that, the other. Blah blah. Like, there's so many inherent flaws with this one as a plot. Out of all the Harry Potter movies, this one has the most plot holes. It's very random.
So shit.
We're in the middle of puberty for the characters as well as the cast. Like,
it's like what my biggest fuck up with this movie is when they did the challenge underwater in the lake.
Okay.
Because there was someone, who were the people that they knocked out and put underneath the water?
It was
against their will, by the way.
No, they told them what was happening. They went to McGonagall and she kind of explained, like, hey, here's what's going to happen.
Oh, well, we didn't get those scenes.
It's in the book.
Yeah, It looks a lot fucking worse in a movie where suddenly, guess what? Your closest homies are gonna drown if you don't win, by the way. And in the book, they make the point to, like, make sure, they volunteered for this. Well, guess what? They didn't do that in the movie. It just looks like we fucked up your friends and put them underwater.
I mean, that's how it was supposed to look to the champions, because, like, they needed stakes. You need stakes.
Very manufactured.
So it was
audience.
It was Fleur's little sister,
right?
Hermione, because Victor was in love with her.
Victor had a boner.
Ron, because Harry and Ron.
I don't know.
Well, listen. Okay, Fleur's little sister makes sense.
Sure.
Cedric's dating Cho makes sense.
Sure.
Hermione's dating Victor. Even
Great.
though they just met like a month ago, sure. All right, cool.
Now let's put Ron Weasley. Let's put our boy.
Because it's Harry's best friend. That's it. It's just really awkward when you look at the lineup because it's just.
And then doesn't Harry save Fleur's little sister?
Yeah, because Fleur bitched out.
Yeah.
Fleur bitched out. She got attacked and she pulled from the round, which also I think if you pull from a round of the Triwizard Tournament, that should be it. Like, you shouldn't get to continue to the next task to compete for the title. Like, you already fucking pulled out. They
should have put bottles of vodka down there for Victor instead.
But for the amount of things, I'm actually going to call the ranking before you do this time.
Ooh.
And it's going to be a little bit controversial probably to the chat, but I'm going to put this as a solid D. And I'm going to put it in D because as a Harry Potter movie, it probably has the most left out of the plot. It is the most inherently flawed plot of the Harry Potter films. And I really hate their hair. Where would you...
I agree. It goes in D. Solid. Locked in. It's never moving.
Okay, what I know that Sonic hops in here at some point,
we have Order of the Phoenix first.
Okay, I was like, I don't know when. This is Order of the Phoenix.
In this movie, we get much more Gary Oldman, and so automatically it's better. I want it in B tier.
You're not even going to talk about it?
I don't remember much about it.
This is Umbridge.
Oh, that cunt.
This is Umbridge, right? No.
I don't know.
Yes, no.
It's been so long since I watched them, I put them out of my mind.
No, this is Umbridge, because they go to the Department of Ministries and they have to sneak around, use the Flu Network. They think Sirius is missing. Yeah.
Oh, it's like
Umbridge.
half spy movie.
Yeah. Umbridge is here. Which also, again, if we're talking about people who frickin' like went for it in the Harry Potter series.
Oh, this is David Yates' first.
This is the actress who did Umbridge. I couldn't cast a better person.
Crushed that.
I could not cast a better person.
Also, this is a movie where the violence of the wizarding world reaches out to civilians. For the first, you really see it for the first time.
Yeah, because this is the one where you start to see that the wizarding
the
world...
Dementors attack Dursley.
Yeah, and the wizarding world affects the Muggle world. This is also the one where we start to see, like, more violence towards Muggles. Like, Voldemort's starting to pick up rankings. Bellatrix escapes fucking Azkaban. There's a lot of really good shit that happens in Order of the Phoenix. Sirius
I
dies.
don't have that much that's bad to say about this movie because they started really getting a good handle on, because the books have so many plot lines and they want to incorporate as much of the books into the movies as they can. They started doing a really good job of taking the plot lines, all of them, and just condensing them and putting them in a more orderly way, because I think they touch on everything from the book in this movie. If I recall,
there's stuff that's left out, but it's not stuff that affects the plot.
It's like tertiary stuff.
Yeah, I feel like we miss a lot of the Department of Mysteries. There's a lot that happens.
We still see Trelawney get fired.
There's a lot that happens in this movie, and I think they did the best that they could with. I think they learned from a lot of their mistakes from Goblet of Fire, and really, really pushed forward with this one. Everybody got their haircut, for those that cared. And yeah, there was stuff that was missing from the movie for sure that was in the book, but there was also a lot that was kept in, and I think you're right. I think this is probably one of the best examples, other than the earlier two when it was much easier because there was like 200 pages. I think this is one of the best examples of them carrying the whole plot through. We got Hagrid's giant brother, we did the Centaurs, we did Dumbledore's army, we did Cho and Harry, we did pretty much everything. Honestly, if I could check off the list, like, yeah, we lose a little bit of the Department of Mysteries, but how much of that really affected the plot of the core plot of the movie? You also get one of the best Dumbledore scenes of him. They come to arrest him, and that bitch just fucking rolls out, like, with Fox, and it's just like even
it's
Kingsley,
it might be the best one.
Even Kingsley Shacklebolt was like, you can hate Dumbledore all you want to, but you gotta admit that guy's got style. That's not exactly what he says, but
it's the same thought of, like, every interaction with Jack Sparrow. Like, that is the worst pirate I've ever seen. But you have heard of him.
Yep.
It's that.
Except Dumbledore is canonically one of the best wizards of all time.
Yeah, he's just a cock.
He's a really
A-tier.
bad person. I think so.
A-tier.
I'm not saying it's S tier, but it's definitely
there is not a single Harry Potter movie that is S tier.
I don't even.
The best they will ever do is A.
We'll see. What's next? Is Sonic next?
Sonic the Hedgehog. We took a break.
Because chat does. If you're new here, chat does get to vote every single week on what we watch next. So there is some incentive to tune into us live. Unfortunately, you guys don't get to do that for 3 episodes, as we've already stated.
Sorry about it.
But you do get to do that. Sonic was surprisingly...
It's a good movie.
Good.
It's a good movie.
It's not, like, a great movie, but it was really good. You get really good Jim Carrey.
You get, like, almost back in prime, like, early 2000s Jim Carrey. Like, in the year of our Lord 2020.
Yeah, really good Jim Carrey. This is one of the first films where we really see the power of the internet start to take control of media.
Oops.
Because they released
that one picture of Sonic with normal people teeth.
It wasn't even a picture, I think it was a teaser trailer.
Oh, was it a teaser? And everyone was like, clowned on the poor animators.
Everyone collectively lost their fucking shit. They're like,
everyone was mad.
There was like, you have fucking drawings of him, just 3D render him. Like, we don't need him changed. Like, the internet lost its fucking mind. So much so that they spent significant amounts of money.
They dumped much more money into it in hopes that it would...
to reanimate the entire Sonic movie.
It's that age-old consideration of no publicity is bad publicity. And even though that first rendition of Sonic was some truly bad publicity, I think that did contribute dramatically to the overall sales of the Sonic the Hedgehog movie. And to be honest, they did a really good job turning it around and making him look good.
It looks so much better.
They did. I'm not going to say it's like true to Sonic lore. It's very specifically not.
It's going to do what Five Nights at Freddy's is going to do, and there's going to be game lore, and then there's going to be film lore, because, you know, we need more diverging plot lines in that franchise, but,
so,
I
really liked it.
It's a solid B for me.
I'd put it in B. It's nothing novel.
Yeah.
It's just good.
Yeah, it's just cute, it's good, it's a fun time. I will say, too, like, there's something that was going around the internet was, like, because they dumped millions, I think it was, dollars into reanimating the entire fucking movie, because the internet was like, no. And then the internet was kind of like, all right, guys, we made them do this, so, like...
So now we have to collectively go see the movie.
Like, yeah, show up.
Help the fucking animators.
Show up and support, because... And they did. It was a good movie, it got a sequel.
And the sequel wasn't shit either. We'll talk about that one later.
Yeah, it was honestly a good movie. I'm not saying it's like, oh my god, I love this movie, I'd watch it over and over again. But it was cute, it was good, it was not bad. I don't think we even had a lot of bad things to say about it. A couple plot holes here and there, but...
No, and even then, like, in terms of total recorded time for the podcasts, which came out 2 years ago at the end of October.
Holy fuck.
We recorded an hour and 40 minutes. For the podcast episodes.
You can also always tell which episode, like, which movies we really liked, because those are the shortest episodes.
The movies we like always get shorter episodes because we can't sit there and bitch about them.
Yeah.
I mean, there's stuff to nitpick, but at that point you're nitpicking.
Yeah, when we get on, like, tangents and stuff, I think Grease is one of our longest ones.
Oh, Grease? Beetlejuice? Boy.
It's what's also makes, like, some of the longest ones is where it's stuff from my childhood that I was like, oh, James, watch this movie that I loved and it's like a classic in my family.
Then we rewatch it and I go, this is all of this is bad. Like, for lots of reasons.
It's very problematic, and I sit here and I go, oh
no,
I don't remember.
No,
that doesn't play well anymore. And then we get to talk about it, and I get to
no, the jokes aged like milk.
Yeah, it wasn't good. So next is Half-Blood.
Half-Blood Prince.
Which is one of these Harry Potter.
Like... Half-Blood Prince was, I think, the most interesting plot of the Harry Potter movies. There's one there, and there's one there.
That's Sucker Punch. That's not even Harry Potter, but you're close.
It looks like that.
This one.
Not Harry Potter
This
either.
one, it's the one with Dumbledore.
Oh,
this is also the one, again, R.I.P., that Dumbledore dies. So
oof.
I will say, okay, from a plot standpoint, I dislike Half-Blood Prince for a lot of reasons. Mainly because it's the one where we really start to see
Snape stop being a whole character.
No, we get to see, like, a lot of the corruption of Dumbledore and how...
Oh, yeah.
A lot of
he's a cocky asshole.
A lot of his stuff is not good, like...
Isn't this the movie where he and Harry do the trial thing, and he has to drink the poison?
Yep. I like that you call it a trial after playing the video game.
Yeah, I know, right? It's because I've played the fucking Hogwarts Legacy game on stream. And it's just all the trials of who's
James's
my lexicon
and vocabulary of the Harry Potter universe has changed drastically since we've been playing.
When I started, I was like, that fucking magical creature. Now I know what they're called.
He knows what they're called. He knows names of spells. He knows what the spells do.
I know that Hufflepuff is a school term and not an animal.
Honestly, like, I don't have a lot about to say about the Half-Blood Prince as a Harry Potter movie. Like, it's just kind of...
I thought it was interesting because they took Dumbledore and made him even more sinister, and they took Snape and made him a bitch. And I just, like, I don't...
Well, it's because he gets tied up in that whole fucking...
he gets roped into some...
or an unbreakable vow.
Yeah, he gets roped into some bullshit, but he's also the kind of character... And shouts out to Alan Rickman for playing him like a cold-blooded motherfucker. But
Alan Rickman's one of the best performances.
Snape in the movies has no ethics. He has no moral backbone. He is a limp, wet noodle of a bitch. And I fucking hate him. And it makes Alan Rickman's performance that much better. because he's not supposed to be like that.
You're gonna anger a lot of people.
I don't give a rat's ass.
A lot of people really like Snape.
Okay.
I guess for this one, what's hard about this one for me is it was my favorite book. Out of the entire Harry Potter series, Half-Blood Prince was my favorite book.
And did they just destroy it for you?
Wasn't even destroyed. I just feel like it wasn't as good as it could have. Like, this is probably the
like the first movie. Like, it could have been better, and it just wasn't.
Yeah, they chose to. They also, this is the one where we get an entire we don't talk about this enough, but an entire race change of Lavender Brown.
Oh my god, I forgot about that. Yo, they made her white.
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know, but you're gonna have to do some sound editing for this episode because you've peaked the mic about a good 10 times.
Oh, I know.
No, there's
the audacity.
There's a lot of. I think this one could have done a lot better. I think they could have done a lot better with it.
Is it one of the longer books?
No, it's actually one of the, like, looking at the end, because we did look that up right before this, because we were talking about it. Because, like I said, we had a really hard time preparing for this podcast, because we start talking about things, and we're like, no, we have to wait. It's not one of the longest of the last ones. It's one of the longest books, but then again, you also have, like, the first 3 to compare with, where those are, like, less than 400 pages. Mm-hmm. But out of the last half of them, it is one of the shortest ones. So I say this is a C tier movie for me.
I'll allow it.
In general, just like on a Harry Potter standpoint, again, I'd probably put 1 and 2 in B if I were arguing for it, but this one's probably C for me out of the Harry Potter ones, and I've got 2 up here, 1 down here, and I'd probably put this, like I said, these 2.
The shift of Lavender Brown, who is a character with lines and is notable, that's gotta put that shit in D for me.
Okay, so we're compromising on C.
We have to compromise on C.
Can we move this one up to B?
Yeah. Because there's just, their hands were tied. It couldn't have been better than it was.
Because of the budget and, like,
the glass ceiling for them was just too low.
And yeah, I don't think we can fault the movie for that. So I think we have to raise it up.
If you could give them another $40 million to make that movie, it would have been infinitely better.
So for podcast, just so you're aware, we moved Philosopher's Stone up to B.
Yeah.
But Half-Blood Prince is in C for sure.
Now I need to make everyone even more angry.
Because we're going to talk about Deathly Hallows Part 1?
No.
What are we going to talk about?
Beetlejuice.
Oh, I forgot we had another break. Beetlejuice. Oh, snap.
No, it's right there.
No, I said it 3 times. Unbroken.
Oh, god damn it. Fuck.
I was just looking for it and I said
Michael, go away. Get the shit out of my house.
I've never done that.
I didn't ask for the striped pajamas, motherfucker.
I've never done that. That's like one of those weird, like, I know Beetlejuice is not real, but that's
like talking about Hamlet or whatever.
You mean Beth?
Sure, I don't know. Theater is a mystical world. That's
one of my weird, superstitions one where I've never actually said Beetlejuice 3 times in a row, and I have anxiety now.
Well, you oopsied.
Oh, I don't like that. I got goosebumps. I feel uncomfortable. Anyways, this movie,
So, Beetlejuice. On first watch ever in my life, I watched this movie, and all I could do was sit here and think about how fucking demented the plot of this movie is. Front to back.
It's about dead people. I don't know what you wanted.
But it's pedophilia masquerading as a black comedy. And it's not even that fucking funny. Michael Keaton does his damnedest to be funny, and all he winds up doing is looking like a giant pervert, which is part of the character of Beetlejuice. But at the same time, Beetlejuice is such a dog shit ass concept that I cannot abide by the fact that they made it into a movie and dragged Winona Ryder into it, okay? They fucking it's a cult classic, people love it, and they're fucking wrong.
I've got, like, I jump around with this movie, even putting it on the tier list, because you're right, I think that there's a lot of plot holes. It's a little creepy.
It ages like milk.
It did not age well, but I am a Tim Burton stan.
Tim Burton's a bitch.
And I do love Winona's performance, and I think there's killer performances in it. I think Michael did a great job. I think Winona did a great job. But what I think it lacks and what it does is, and this is kind of why it's dropped in rankings for me upon watching it with James and doing it for this podcast, because I probably would have thrown it up in the top.
Yeah, you'd have put it in A or S tier.
And it's dropped down a lot because also, since this movie has been released, we've also had the hit Broadway musical Beetlejuice come out, and it's so much better.
The Broadway musical just looks more entertaining than the movie ever could.
Beetlejuice is a better character in the Broadway musical. They address some of the things that are really awful about the movie, like the pedophilia. Like, they have a whole song about it. I think that Winona's character, who I'm blanking on the actual character's name right now.
It does have one of my favorite sequences in a movie of all time, though. There's always that one fucking shining moment in all of these terrible movies where I'm like, well, but that was just so damn good. And it's the dining room scene that doesn't, the Heyo song, that it doesn't fit in the movie at all. It's maybe one of the most unhinged things I've ever seen in a movie. And yet it is so fucking good.
It's also one of the most iconic moments of cinema, which is why it still probably drifts into the middle for me here. But, like, it's just, like I said, Winona's character is better in the musical. The musical just did it better. So for me, it's probably C or D.
F.
So
Instant
D it
F.
is first.
So it lives in D.
Hey, look, we're evened out. Every A, B, C, and D have 2 movies each. So we're doing pretty good.
All right, back to Harry Potter.
So this
Deathly
is
Hallows
Deathly Hallows
Part 1
Part
and
1.
then Part 2.
Part 2.
I
don't like Deathly Hallows Part 1 as much as I like Deathly Hallows Part 2. I'm going to say that right off the bat. I do like both the movies better than the books because, okay, I know James said not to talk about the books, but just to give a little bit of context for James, 90% of that book is skippable. Like, it's camping. Like, it's you do a lot of shit in the woods. There's a lot of shit like, oh, we got to move to this location. And what you get to do in the movie is you get to speed that up in a montage, like where you can see Ron slowly deteriorate through clips. But in the book, you have to read through all of that extensively.
I think there are. It's hard for me because I have almost no memory of this movie until you said camping, and then I was like, it flooded back into my brain, like, oh, this is the movie where we hung out with the trio and they just got madder and madder and madder at each other for the entire movie because they had to hide and they just infought the whole time. And I think that the way they went about showing that was probably as good as they could have done, but it's still so non-memorable to me that I don't care for it. So it's got to be in C for me because I think they did as good a job as they could have possibly done, and yet it's still unmemorable.
I'm unfortunately also going to agree with that because, like, you get some memorable scenes in there, but of the Harry Potter movies, just because you know it's a lead up to this one, and I'm not gonna lie and say like, oh, they could have done it in one. They definitely couldn't have. You had to break that shit up.
Yeah, it's a lot. There's a lot that goes.
You have to do all that setup to get to
the triumphant win.
Deathly Hallows Part 2, and you cannot do that in one movie. You just cannot.
No.
Like, because it's just like a setup. It's basically a transition movie between Half-Blood Prince
it kind of is,
and Deathly Hallows Part 2, and there's not a lot that goes on. Like, we do a lot of things, we get a lot of lore, like you find out about the Deathly Hallows.
It's just an exposition movie. It's
really
2 hours and 30 minutes of exposition.
So for me, I can agree with that. Easy C. Like, I wouldn't put it up here because, like, I love these ones, but I don't like watching Deathly Hallows Part 1.
They went as hard as they could, but they couldn't really go all that hard.
And here's where we're probably going to have our biggest fight as far as rankings go.
Are we? I don't fucking remember Deathly Hallows Part 2. So whatever you say is probably going to be accurate.
Cool, so it's going in S.
Absolutely not.
S tier.
Under no circumstances.
I have... okay, for me, and I'm going to argue for my S tier ranking, and it's probably going to end up in A or something, but for my S tier ranking, and it's because there's so much that happened culturally for me with this movie that it's definitely something you missed out on because it was a phenomenon. Me and my family camped out for 3 fucking days to go see this movie, midnight premiere movie, and not even like in LA or anywhere that was, or in England. No, just in Colorado Springs, fucking Colorado, at a Cinemark theater in IMAX. But we camped out for 3 days. We slept on the ground because we weren't even allowed to technically put up tents until 3 days before because they'd changed all the rules because tragedy happened in Aurora with the Batman premiere. And this followed very quickly after that. So they had changed all the rules. It was all this stuff. And we had fucking wristbands. Like, they came to do checks to make sure people weren't moving in line. Like, it was pure cultural insanity. And we, as a whole entire, this was before J.K. Rowling was controversial. This was before Harry Potter was divided on, do we support the series that made us and ignore J.K. Rowling and all this stuff. Before all of that, when we were one fucking united family across the whole fucking country watching this one movie at the same time and having this shared experience, because of all that, and because it was the end of the series, and because of everything that this movie is, outside of the plot and inside of the plot, it has to be an S tier for me because of what it did for a culture. I cried. Openly wept twice during that movie. And it was the end of a fucking era. Little did we know there was going to be Fantastic Beasts movies to follow it, but at that point, that was the end of Harry Potter. There was no more. There was no Cursed Child. There was no Fantastic Beasts. There was no Hogwarts Legacy video game. That was it. That was it. And it was so good. And we all, as an entire community, cheered and cried and bonded over this amazing thing in our lives. So.
And then in this movie, all the people show up, half of them die, and then that's the movie.
So A? Can I put it in S?
Oh, I'd put it in D, so it's gonna live in B. Listen, the way...
I'm so mad right now.
Here's the problem.
Argue your case, because I argued my case, because I need to hear why you think it's so bad.
I don't think it's so bad it deserves a D ranking. However, I think it is so hyped up and so blown up by the community that loves it so much that its expectation of how good it has to be far superseded what was delivered upon. And I'm not... If I were ranking it, eliminating all context as just a movie, it's a solid C, maybe even a B, because there's great action sequences. The graphics are the best they've ever been in these movies. The acting is, if you've got adults playing these kids now, and they're doing a fucking great job.
They've also had like a lifetime to learn who these characters are.
They are the embodiment of their characters. And it's all around some of the best production in Harry Potter series. But I feel so much that the hype, because you just went on this giant speech as I reread the plot. You went on this giant speech about how united the fandom was and how everyone was crying and sniffling, and it was this whole cultural movement. And that's fine. But I don't think the movie lived up to what you all deserved from it. I think you guys deserved more than it could have possibly delivered because you wanted it to be so much better. And I'm not saying it's bad, but because the ask was so unintentionally high, I think there's only a couple of moments in the movie that reach high enough to pay off, and they're far and few between.
Can we talk about that if this had been in the time of 3-hour movie spans, how much better this movie could have been? Because
absolutely,
I don't need a 3-hour Batman, although it was excellent.
No. We did need a 3-hour.
That was a great movie.
It was so good.
I love that movie. But if we could have had a 3-hour Deathly Hallows movie, first of all, you probably could have cut that movie out.
You also could have made the battle for Hogwarts even more grandiose.
True.
Like, think about the space that the battle takes place in. You have a brief scene inside. And then you have a scene in the courtyard near the bridge. And you have the bridge. And that is the entire Battle of Hogwarts. Hogwarts is a huge school. I've never read the book. So imagine the book doesn't exist. When you hear the words, the Battle of Hogwarts, should that not be a monstrously large battle on multiple fronts with multiple engagements, not just one head-to-head clash that ends in 35 fucking seconds? It's depressing. Think about the Lord of the Rings movies you've seen with epic clashes of ginormous proportions, armies marching on each other. They built all this hype into Dumbledore's army and Voldemort's army. There's supposed to be these monstrous forces clashing against each other, and it looks like some B-tier fucking Chronicles of Narnia shit.
I will say, I'm kind of going to lean and agree with you here, because now that I'm like thinking back and remembering like the actual Battle of Hogwarts, what we could have done here, because I will say movie to book it's pretty close, but the problem with that is because we're following Harry, and it's one of those things of like you have this story only told from like one character's perspective. But what we could have done
with a 3-hour runtime,
with more runtime, is we could have done almost like a It was Mockingjay. A Mockingjay Part 1, where we get to see stuff that Harry didn't necessarily get to experience, kind of like we saw the raid on the Capitol with when they rescued PETA.
You have this opportunity in movies that you don't necessarily get from books where you write from one character's perspective, where you can show stuff that you didn't write previously. And once again, having not read the book, it feels like more should have happened. It should have been bigger. It should have been more intense. The final clash between Harry and Voldemort lasts for 30 seconds. They do a little laser battle, and Harry wins through the power of his dead parents. And that's the fucking end. It's not a fitting end for a bad guy who is supposed to be the baddest motherfucker there was. Oopsie, then we wrote Grindelwald. It's supposed to be the penultimate evil bad guy who has no moral compass, no ethics. He is the embodiment of evil in this movie, and he dies like a bitch in a fight that is so short. It is a monumental disappointment after the buildup of movie after movie after movie where they dance around each other like this intricate boxing match that goes all 12 rounds to end in the first round of the last fight. It's fucking sad. It should have been better, and it wasn't.
Okay, B.
Fuck me, it's an F movie.
B. We'll say B.
All right.
We'll say B. What's next?
I have to live with that. Wait till I get to Grindelwald and I complain about how much better of a villain he is. Cinderella from Amazon!
Okay, this is what we were listening to right before we went live.
Go, kids.
Which is how I fucked up us going live. Cinderella. Okay. No. Let me talk. Let me talk about this movie because I have a lot of mixed feelings about this movie.
The Amazon Cinderella.
The Amazon Cinderella. I have some weird love connection with this movie that I cannot explain. I acknowledge that it is not a good movie.
It's kind of terrible, actually.
I acknowledge that on most fronts it's a bad movie, and yet I've seen it. I think I've seen it now like 10 plus times. I've watched it repeatedly.
It might be one of the most star-studded, abysmal movies I've ever seen.
And I love it. Like, it's just such trash. It's one of those movies.
It's a mind trash movie.
It's just so good. They're happy. Dina Menzel's in it. Like, I can't. It's just a good movie. Like, it is. It's completely like.
I think she's better in this movie than in Rent.
I'm not gonna touch that because we haven't watched Rent on this podcast. But you are fucking wrong 10 times to Sunday. All right.
She's barely even in Rent. She's just the object of Rent.
I can feel my blood pressure rising. We need to not talk about Rent. We need to not talk about Rent. Okay, we're not talking about that. I'm literally like sweating from that. Okay.
I am dripping.
Cinderella. Easy. We can. It's probably got to go in D.
It's
right?
gotta be in D.
It's gotta be.
It's fucking
it's
bad.
So bad.
It's fucking bad, man. This movie sucks. The Amazon Cinderella. It's a waste of Camila Cabello. It's a waste of Idina Menzel. It's a waste of Billy Porter of all people.
It is an extreme waste of Billy Porter because if I tell you that he is one of my favorite renditions of a fairy godmother ever, and if I could just put him in a different movie,
it's such a shame. It is a waste of Camila Cabello's music.
They did not write her well.
No, it's such a cash grab from Amazon. It's another giant shame.
It is a cash grab because you want to know how it's a cash grab? James Corden's in it.
Oh my god, how many movies have we watched for this podcast with James Corden in it? Is it 2?
It's only 2 because I've seen most of the James Corden movies. Okay. We've seen most of the James Corden movies. So.
Yeah, Cinderella is absolute. It's if you love it, you love it. If you don't, you're like everybody else. Yeah, it lives in D. It's not so obscene to me that it needs to be an F because it's just like it's like they tried with like 2 people to make it good, but they tried it with 2 people and not with like a host of people like they probably should have done. So it lives in D.
I'm realizing right now that we might have to change up our plan.
I don't think we can do the second tier list.
I don't think we can do the second tier list. So we are actually going to take a brief break. It won't affect the podcast episode at all. But
we're just going to pause the recording and then start it again.
Yeah, but we do need to take a break. I need more wine.
I need another beer.
So we will be right back. If you're in stream, nothing's going to change for you.
We'll be back in about 5 minutes.
We'll be back. Yeah, we'll be right back. Don't go anywhere because there's still a lot of...
And for context, I think Rent is an incredible movie.
Someday you should see the musical. All right.
Sure.
We will be literally right back. Please don't go anywhere. We love you all. Thanks for tuning in. Go get yourself a refreshment.
Get some snacks. We're gearing up for the more interesting variety.
Yeah, we're done with Harry Potter, so...
Yeah, but we're not done with the Wizarding World, which means it's going to get spicy again.
The fact that you can differentiate that just proves how far you've come.
It's problematic!
It is exactly right now that America realizes she was more prepared than she realized she was, and my bottle of wine has been in here the whole time. So I'm gonna probably just do one more cup tonight, though.
Out of curiosity,
Yo,
because it's a movie we should put on the list if you haven't seen it. Have you seen the movie Miracle?
I might have, but like, cause I'd need to see like the movie, because there's a lot of movies that I've seen that I don't really remember because they were not standout movies.
Hold on, let me pull it up real quick.
All right, okay, we're back. Whew. It was a quick break because I realized my wine was in here. Oh, do you want to try this? This is one of the new bottles.
Yeah, sure. It's a hockey movie with Kurt Russell in it.
No.
It's about the 1980 U.S. Olympic team who beat the Russians at the height of Cold War.
I don't know, because I know my dad made me watch a hockey movie, but I can't because my dad loves hockey.
It was probably Goon.
I don't know what that one was either.
I haven't seen that.
I'd have to do a little bit more research. If not, it can definitely go on the list. But...
It's one of my most favorite sports movies of all time.
Sports movies.
They have a category of their own where it's just movies I don't give a shit about.
You love my cup? Does anyone remember, for those that are in chat, does anyone remember where this cup came from? We call it my CityWavesCinema cup now, but this is the one I painted at girls' night at Courtney's house. So, yeah. Alright, James is stretching. That means it's time to get going. You ready, babe? I don't know what's next, so you're kind of leading the ship in that regard.
I know what's next.
Alright,
it's going to be one of the first hugely disparate movies.
We're not going to do an intro. We're literally just going to jump back in. So, here we go. Okay. Ready, set, go. And we're back from our break that
was very fast.
We took.
Okay. Next that we've watched
after
Cinderella.
Yes.
Sahara. The first time I ever won a vote in the channel's history. Sahara. In case you've never seen it, because it's kind of like, it's a B-tier action movie, but it's...
In case you've never seen it, go listen to our podcast episode.
Yeah, go listen to the podcast episode. It's a pretty good rundown of it. It's a Matthew McConaughey, I believe Penelope Cruz movie. And America hates Matthew McConaughey with a deep passion, which I think is silly, but it's one of my favorite all-time action movies, and it's not even that good in terms of action. It's just, honestly, you know what? Honestly, the best part of Sahara is Steve Zahn as the buddy.
True.
Because McConaughey just plays cool guy McConaughey, and Penelope Cruz just plays kind of smart doctor. And the best part of the whole movie is every time Steve Zahn is on camera, he's just so good. He is one of the greatest buddy cop type of character actors ever. He's so good in that role. And there's so many memorable parts about it that are just related directly to Steve Zahn. And I hold it in S tier as for my own personal regards. Objectively, I have to put it in A tier because Steve Zahn carries the whole damn thing.
Are you good?
Yeah, go ahead. Okay.
This was the first episode of the podcast that was... Go. That was directly directed at me, because most of these movies up until this point...
It's been movies James hasn't seen.
Other than Sonic, which we both hadn't seen. So this is the first one that was directed from the chat. The vote was directed at me. Because I hadn't seen these movies, and they definitely wanted to hear me bitch about Matthew McConaughey, because that's an ongoing thread on this channel, is how much I dislike Matthew McConaughey. As a person, I think he's great. Like,
it's not even that his acting is bad. It's that you just don't like his voice.
It literally comes down to that, and I don't think he's that attractive. Like, I don't like looking at him either. I think as a person, he's super nice. I think he's done a lot of great things for Austin and for the arts community in a whole.
He's maybe one of the coolest dudes to ever exist.
I don't like him. I don't like to look at him, and I don't like to hear him.
That is such a shame. Such a shame.
I know I am in the severe minority. I will agree with James, though. I love Steve Zahn as a character, or as an actor, and as a character in this movie.
He's just so good.
But I would never watch this movie again.
Also, Rainn Wilson is in it, by the way.
Like, I also don't remember much from that movie. Like, it just didn't stand. Like, it was definitely one of those movies that I was like, yeah, that was a good movie.
It's an adventure movie. It's kind of like a discount Indiana Jones, except his buddy is so much better in these movies.
It's gonna end up in B because you want to put it up here and I
Yeah.
want to put it down here, so it's gonna end up in B.
That's fine.
But
I have a feeling B is going to occupy a lot of movies.
But yeah, no, it just it didn't stand out for me. I had a hard time repeating the plot right after I watched it. If you watch that podcast episode, it's probably one of my least favorite ones we've ever recorded. Since we're not going to get to do the podcast episode tier list, I will say that's one of the least favorite ones we've ever recorded because it was my first one leading, and I don't think I did a good job.
I would like to re-record the Sahara episodes just because I think we've grown as podcasting people.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we are better now than we were when we first did it. And I'm not going to say it warrants watching over again to re-record, but there are some of these episodes that I would like to go back and just redo.
I'd like to redo the first Harry Potter one.
Probably, yeah. I think we were long-winded on it.
The amount I fangirl gushed over the first Harry Potter movie disgusts even myself.
I probably gushed a bunch about Sahara because it's just so fun for me. While you've watched Cinderella over 10 times, I've seen Sahara probably 50 times. I have spent a lot of my life, more than I should have, watching Sahara, and I do not regret a single time.
Okay, Sahara's in B.
Next up is a really good movie, and the first instance of me saying something about plot that is true.
I know what it is.
And was proven true. We're talking about A Knight's Tale.
One of the best podcast episodes that we have released.
Absolute facts. If you want to go back in time and relive a personal victory for me over not only chat, but the person who is mostly right all the time.
And who loves this fucking movie. Like, I've seen it so many times.
I pointed out a plot point. And I was told to my face I was wrong for about 15 minutes.
But not just me. Chat was with me. Like, we were arguing, all of us collectively, at James.
In the episode, we pull up the movie and try to find the scene. We can't find the scene. We pull up the plot on Wikipedia to get a more, like, community consensus on what the plot actually is in the movie. And it's stated sentence by sentence that what I observed was in fact the correct plot point. And it blew your freaking mind, and I shouted so fucking loud.
There was a lot of yelling. That's a very
It's a
not headphone using,
not headphone friendly.
Like, it was rough.
Knight's Tale as a movie, solid A. It's not my favorite movie I've ever seen, but all the performances are bang up. The story is good.
You got Heath Ledger.
Heath Ledger's in it. Alan Tudyk is in it, and
Alan Tudyk's phenomenal.
Everyone stepped up in that movie. It's good. The effects are good.
It changed the, like, Renaissance fair culture as a whole, because this is when, like, Joust started using "We Will Rock You" as a theme.
What is that type of movie? I was just researching it a little bit, where a movie is like a time piece. It's a period piece movie,
but it has, like,
and it uses modern songs.
You talked about it in the episode.
I can't remember what the fucking specific term is for that kind of movie. I love those kinds of movies where you can do a period piece but have modern songs and it doesn't feel wrong. It's great. Easy A.
See, I'm wondering if we could even argue, just for our tier list, maybe not in movies of our life in general, but just for this podcast, of putting in an S, because neither of us has said anything bad about this movie.
For the podcast, it's probably an S tier movie.
Yeah.
I think it's the first S tier movie is A Knight's Tale.
And it's also, like, the only reason those episodes...
shit, Harry Potter.
The only reason those episodes are so long is because we got into arguments, but I don't think we had
They're not long. They're 47 minutes max.
In the first episode we were talking about even ending it early, but and we would have if we hadn't gotten into a solid argument that lasted for 15 minutes. But so yeah, no, definitely S tier.
It's an S tier movie. It's so good.
Easy peasy.
Next movie.
Anachronistic is the term you were looking for.
Anachronistic?
Yeah.
Fucking love those movies. Fucking love them. They're so good. Next movie, The Mask. Our first Jim Carrey movie.
No, Sonic, bro.
Oh, fucking that's right. He was in Sonic.
We did do a little bit of a Jim Carrey stint, though. I know what you're talking about because we did Bruce Almighty and stuff. Because there were some Jim Carrey movies which are all-time classics that James hadn't seen, like The Mask and Bruce Almighty. So we
did do The Mask back in ye old 2022, and it's just good.
Yeah, it's good. I wouldn't say it's even my favorite Jim Carrey movie. Like, I wouldn't put it in like A or B or S or A, but it's definitely like a B movie for me.
I think it's a dumb, fun movie, and I would put it in A, so I guess we'll round down and put it in B.
It's a good movie, but it's not my favorite Jim Carrey movie. Like, I would put Bruce Almighty above The Mask.
Yeah, but you don't get smoking without
also, for the time period, can we talk about like the animation and the CGI and
it was really good.
I think actually, no, I'll agree with you. I'll put it into A just because if we're talking about like quality of like CGI and stuff for the era that it came out in, it's a really good film.
It's a good movie.
The writing's good. It's funny. It's a good movie.
The jokes aren't even like corny.
You also get like
funny.
You also get like top tier Jim Carrey. Like it's so.
Someday we should do another tier list where we just do Jim Carrey movies, because they're all gonna sit in S and A tier, except for like maybe one or two that live down in C.
I could drop Liar Liar into like B, maybe.
I'd slot Liar Liar into A because Stop Breaking the Law, asshole, is one of my favorite things I've ever seen in a movie. He just holds the phone out 1.5 feet from his face and is screeching. Listen, I'm a simple man. Loud is funny. And that is so fucking funny. It's not a good joke. It's just well executed.
Oops, I didn't turn this on.
Oh my god, you're a silly goose.
There you go.
It's fine.
Okay, I forgot to show the...
It's fine. You're fired from being in charge of that.
I've messed up like 5 times on the stream side today.
Uncharacteristic for you, but that's okay.
It's real weird.
All right, after The Mask, we dive back into the wizarding world and my own personal hell.
It's not a good time. The Fantastic Beasts, until we get to the crab dance, the Fantastic Beasts movies are just not a good time on this channel. Where is the first one?
The first Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them movie, I think, should have done so much better than it did. Okay? I cannot... Is it this?
Yep, thank you.
Okay, I found it. There was so much potential for bringing the wizarding world to America, where the majority of the Harry Potter fans live. There was so much potential to do the wizarding world in a new location with new characters, American wizards, and some dope shit, okay? There was an endless fountain of possibility. And they fucked up when they let J.K. Rowling write it. They fucked it up as hard as they could fuck anything up. They just squandered the first opportunity they had to really deliver on fan service to Americans, okay? They let an English person write the shit.
This is also where we get the start of the J.K. Rowling controversy, because she uses all the Native American...
Yeah. I stood up!
The Native American mythology... I don't even like calling it mythology, but like the Native American...
The lore, the fucking folklore.
Yeah,
writing off folklore as, like...
When those are like...
character traits that you can bring... Because the way that the Hogwarts classes and shit broke down was into certain character traits... You get sorted that way, and yeah, it's not a great system. We shouldn't separate people like that, but that's the way they did it, and we all said, okay, we know it's not great, but that's fine.
But those, like, the creatures that she used are, like, ones that are very important to Native American culture, and to just write them off as magical creatures.
It's like I can't say I expected better because she already just sucked. She was bad to begin with, and she was handed a monstrous lexicon of interesting and unique beliefs and folklore that have existed for centuries. Centuries! And she condensed it into this fucked up little handbook that wrote off millions of humans' belief systems. And it's disrespectful at such an astronomical level. And then they had the audacity to write such an unlikable character that it made Dolores Umbridge look like a saint. Fuck!
And there's Tina.
What a miserable bitch! Oh! She's so abusive and mean! She doesn't do anything to deserve an ounce of interest from Newt. Holy shit! What an awful character! She's just mean! It's like you took the stereotype of New York from the fucking 20s and made that the character! She's just mean. Every time Newt wants to succeed or do something or be nice, she responds just in the bitchiest way she possibly can. How can you possibly write a character that callous, that insincere and fucking unforgiving? She's wholly unrelatable. What an awful, awful write-off of just an American stereotype. The audacity to think that you would get a fucking good review for having such a shit fucking character? Holy shit!
You done?
I'll come back in the next one.
All right.
She's worse in the second one.
I like all the magical creatures. I also love Eddie Redmayne. I know chat was mentioning that.
Jacob is maybe the best character in the
Jacob
Wizarding
and
World.
Queenie.
Jacob and Queenie are some of the best characters. Jacob Kowalski is everyone's precious boy, okay? He should be protected at all costs. He's a magnificent character.
Because of those two and the performance of Eddie Redmayne doing an excellent job of not only portraying Newt Scamander, but also doing one of the best performances I've ever seen of neurodivergency in a film.
Yeah.
Like, I would put it in F, and I don't like the Fantastic series, but it's gonna go in D.
It's such a shame because it's so goddamn star-studded, and there's some really, really magnificent moments with Kowalski. Every time he's on screen, he's a joy, because it's taking the concept of someone who doesn't know that the Wizarding World exists and being dragged into it, and he reacts exactly like a normal human being would if they got dragged into the Wizarding World. They would lose their mind and just be in shock and awe the whole time. And he does. He carries the movie. He carries the series. He is one of the funniest fucking characters in the Wizarding World. And the movie gets a redemption from F into D solely on the back of Jacob Kowalski.
What's next? Did we go straight to... we did not go straight to Crimes of Grindelwald.
Next we go to all of the Hangover movies.
Throw those all straight into the bottom.
They're not great.
Hangover. I also have a new personal dislike for the Hangover movies because of all the posters I had to grab for this
just for this episode?
For this episode tonight to put into this freaking thing. The Hangovers had the most I had the most issues getting these posters because of how many like had watermarks and shit on them. And it was a bad time.
All right.
Hangover Part 1.
The Hangover Part 1 is a comedy movie that I think is just, it exists in the same realm as like The Wolf of Wall Street, where the writer's room just did a shitload of cocaine and wrote the whole movie. It's a bunch of extremely talented comedians making a dog shit movie. I
will say I like the other two not so much, but I really do kind of enjoy the concept of The Hangover Part 1.
It's a brilliant concept. It's executed with the grace and balance of a rhinoceros in a china shop. It's so fucking bad. The jokes age like milk.
The jokes
it's
do not
sexist.
age well.
It's racist. It's an introduction of what's the character?
Alan?
No. That's not Zach Galifianakis. Fuck, I can't remember.
Are you talking
the
about
actor's
Bradley
name.
Cooper?
No. He's the drug guy.
Oh, Ken Jeong.
Yeah, Ken Jeong. Fucking love Ken Jeong. This movie is him getting to do dumb shit. That's the whole movie for Ken Jeong. And while I love Ken Jeong so much, he's such a smart person. This is such a shitty fucking movie. And it's not for lack of trying, because all the actors do their goddamn best. But it's so bad. The jokes age like milk. It's a shame that they dragged poor Ed Harris, Zach Galifianakis. I saw way too much Zach Galifianakis penis in this movie, okay? You see his whole dick. His whole entire penis is out. And that is not cool. I did not need that in my life. I don't need nudity from anybody in any movies. But I certainly don't need Zach Galifianakis nudity.
I'm going to argue a C tier just for the first one, because
it did start a cultural trend.
I was like, I'm gonna do. God, I should have been a cultural media major, but
should have done a lot of different things, but you ended up here.
I should have listened to other people telling me things. But yeah, it started a cultural revolution. This movie, and that's why it has 2 other follow-ups. That like everyone had that fucking shirt with the baby on it, those glasses, like and then.
I think its following is not nearly as hardcore as the Harry Potter following, but I think it made as big of a cultural impact as the Harry Potter movies, and that's not necessarily a good thing.
Yeah, it
is so big and it's not good.
It was the concept was so novel and new, and
such an interesting way to make a movie plot happen.
It was a breath of fresh air, honestly. Like, no one had done something like that before. Like, where you...
I think people have
Benjamin Button the plot back. Like, you have to work from, like, the end backwards.
I think people have tried to do similar ideas with storytelling, and I don't think anything comes to mind that has been remotely as successful as The Hangover.
But that's because The Hangover did it first. Like, yeah, you're right. People have done, like, those, okay, this is how we got here movies, but, like, Hangover was one of the first ones that, I don't know if it was the first one that ever thought of like that concept, but it was one of the ones that did it the best.
It did it the best. Story-wise, it's pretty good. Mm-hmm. I don't even think the story is all that bad, but I think it's the little things.
It's the writing, some of the jokes.
Some of the jokes are really bad. Stu's wife is a monster.
If we're going to talk about men can be abused too.
A Tina Goldstein level monster.
She might be worse than Tina. Like, she's actually abusive.
If we got to see more of her, she probably would be. But she's so out of the picture for the majority of the movies that you forget she exists.
But she's also, like, legitimately abusive. Yeah, Tina's just a bitch.
Tina's a bitch.
But, like, she's actually legitimately abusive.
In terms of character, she's probably worse than Tina. But we see way more of Tina. Okay.
Part 2.
Part 1, C. Part 2, straight to D.
And then Part 3 can probably go to F.
Part 3 can go to F. Part 3... never should have existed. It's not good. 2 at least did some new and different things. Was 2 in Bangkok?
Yeah.
Was 2 the Bangkok one? Yeah. And then 3 they went back to fucking Vegas?
Yeah.
Yeah. 3 never should have fucking existed.
3's the one where they have to like go catch
they're like chasing down Ken Jeong's character.
Because they're like the reason he's like at large or something.
They accidentally...
Alan! Yeah. No, Alan fucking gets him out of prison.
Yeah, Alan got him out of prison. It's... The Hangover Part 3, we can just gloss over Part 2. They went to Bangkok. They did a couple things different.
It was the same movie.
It's the same movie. It's all the worst things about Hangover Part 1, a little extra.
There was a little bit of a lawsuit because they didn't get permission to use the Mike Tyson tattoo.
Oops!
There was some flaws with Part 2, but I did like... I did like Part 2. I actually saw Part 2 before I saw Part 1.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, similar story. I saw Anchorman 2 before I saw Anchorman 1.
And so, honestly, like, that one holds a special place in my heart because I experienced that one first. So I can't put it in F, but Part 3 just shouldn't have happened.
Part 3 should have never happened. It's just bad. I can't think of a single redeeming thing about it.
There's also, like, I feel like Part 2 was kind of like hey, yeah, this group of guys together again. But part 3 was like, okay, we're dragging it out, and there's not a real reason for these guys to be together. The reason for the start of this movie was because they were taking Alan to fucking, like,
rehab or some shit.
A mental institution. And
okay. We're saying this now that we're putting part 3 in F tier. But if you go back and look at the episodes we released for The Hangover Part 3, my first description of The Hangover Part 3 says, you really, really won't believe what we think of this. Like, honestly, it's special. Did we say good things about this movie when we made the episode? Because I don't remember.
We can't have. It wasn't good.
It wasn't good.
I don't know.
I don't know. I'm going to, sometime this week, I'm going to re-listen to our Hangover Part 3 episodes just to redetermine whether or not I hated it or loved it.
I think we probably said nicer things about it than people thought we were going to. I don't know. I don't remember it enough. It's also not a memorable movie. I had to really think about what the plot of it was. All right, so what comes after
Crimes of Grindelwald?
Oh, the last one was Johnny Depp. That
one is tricky. Crimes of Grindelwald is probably the peak of the series.
Mm-hmm.
And it is such...
Is Crab Dance in Crimes of Grindelwald?
No.
It's in the last one?
It's in the last one.
Damn. Are you sure?
Yeah, because Newt doesn't have to go to prison in this one because he's chasing down the kid who nukes the city on accident.
Oh, yeah. There's a lot of problematic actors.
There's a lot of problematic actors in this movie.
Johnny Depp was fine.
Johnny Depp withstanding. He's fine.
No, but I'm saying, like, if you, like, look at the cast, Johnny Depp's had court stuff, fucking...
What's his face?
The Flash. Yeah. Ezra Miller has had a lot of fucking shit.
He probably should.
And they still released the Flash movie, which is a questionable decision.
To the destruction of it. Crimes of Grindelwald Part 2. The Crimes of Grindelwald, I think, is trying to do too much stuff. I think they're trying to have another Fantastic Beasts movie at the same time that they build up a much more intensely and specifically evil villain than Voldemort ever was. Grindelwald is just worse. He is a better written, more evil, more despicable, more complex, more interesting villain than Voldemort ever was.
Can we talk about these movies? And I just saw chat, which is, I was thinking it too. If we hadn't done the Fantastic Beasts movie, cool, let it be what it is, but not called the entire series the Fantastic Beasts series, and did more of like a Grindelwald Dumbledore love affair story, which is what it is.
Make Newt Scamander a side character
for the rest of commit to the bit. Like, you want to tell the Grindelwald Dumbledore story, fucking do it, because it's
such an interesting plot.
Their whole connection and story together is a wonderful story.
It's also a perfect retelling of the age-old fantasy story of wizards who cannot help themselves but to seek more power and falling from heights because they cannot stop seeking more power. It's the pinnacle flaw of all wizard characters outside of the wizarding world, inching into D&D and every other instance where a wizard exists, the Jedi, everything. The pinnacle flaw is wizards cannot stop lusting for power, and this plot between Grindelwald and Dumbledore is maybe one of the greatest plot lines to incorporate that into it, and they fumbled the fucking bag.
They did a lot of things wrong, which happens more in The Secrets of Dumbledore.
Yeah, they did.
But I think if they had just committed to the bit and told the actual story of Grindelwald and Dumbledore, it would have done better.
Probably.
It's kind of like...
It's another movie where Jacob Kowalski carries the whole movie, and you had Johnny Depp in it.
It's also like, it's one of those things that's happening in Harry Potter culture currently, where they said they're going to remake the entire series into a TV show, which, you know...
Christ, can we just not?
No one asked for that.
Can we just not?
No one asked for it.
I would like to petition to just not.
Instead of
I'm all done. I'm all done with Wizarding World.
Instead of doing things that would do, like, progressively better, like getting a Marauders movie where we get to see, like, young Sirius, young James Potter, young Lupin, like, doing that. Seeing them all become animaguses. Like, there's lots of really cool Harry Potter plotlines that have not been explored that we could do more shit with that the audience would like to see.
I mean, shit, we just got the Hogwarts Legacy game, right? And that incorporated a whole new thing with the Merlin trials. You learn more about Merlin. You learn shit about, like, ancient magic, which is not a fucking thing that we've heard about before. You could do it. Source material to make infinite shit in the Wizarding World. And we're gonna trip over our fucking shoelaces to try to rewrite our fucking mistakes? Goddamn, corporations need to fuck off from art. It's so awful.
In line with the Hogwarts Legacy video game, you could do a Founders movie about, like, fucking Salazar Slytherin, Godric Gryffindor. Like, you could do...
Let's watch the OG Hogwarts quartet figure their shit out.
And watch, like, Salazar Slytherin, like, dissolve from the group. Like, that'd be awesome to look at and watch, and it'd be so cool. Now we're gonna remake the entire fucking series that everyone already loves and has deep emotional connections and bonds with. So
Crimes of Grindelwald goes in D.
Yeah, and then...
Which is such a shame.
It could have been something really good.
It is the ultimate waste of Johnny Depp.
It is. And then they really decided to
And then
waste
they
him.
fucked themselves to death. But we don't go there next.
No, we don't go there next.
We go to Suicide Squad.
Good movie.
Good movie. You know what? I think great movie. I think the Suicide Squad.
Not Suicide
Squad was a movie that I liked personally, but I acknowledge it is not a good movie.
It kind of goes in like the Cinderella realm.
It is a trash entertainment movie. The Suicide Squad is a great movie. It is what Suicide Squad should have been from the get-go. It is so fun and weird and dumb, just like the Suicide Squad comics are. They're fun, they're weird, they're dumb, and they introduce characters that don't have solid backstories, that are insane, and are just like, they're there and then they're gone. And there's a shitload of stars in it, and they all die immediately. It's fucking great.
They also kept a lot of, like, they really did improve upon...
They took the formula and just
the first Suicide Squad. Like, they kept things that people really love, because everyone right now is loving Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn.
She has to be Harley Quinn. She is so good.
We kept the Colonel.
We kept the Colonel. Yeah,
I can't
Lieutenant Colonel. I don't remember. We kept him. He's great.
He's
magnificent
an
actor.
Yeah, love
He's
him.
doing a great job.
We
kept our penultimate villain, who is not the villain but is the villain, Amanda Waller.
Also, that goes in like the Dolores Umbridge and Joffrey tier of like people who have done an excellent job.
Just tremendous job at making such an incorrigible character.
Because
what a fucking bitch. Ooh, it's so good.
There are a few characters in this world that I would like to literally watch their demise in slow motion. Dolores Umbridge is one of them. I like Joffrey, so I can't put him in there. But the other one is, and I hate her. And every time she's on screen, and
Amanda fucking Waller.
I hate Amanda Waller. I hate her in the comics. I hate her in the DC universe. I hate her for a lot of fucking reasons, and the performance of it makes me hate her more, which means it's an excellent performance.
She did so good. The Suicide Squad, I want to put it in S, but I don't think it's that good. I think
probably
it's just
gotta go to
really
A.
good. It's got to be A.
Yeah, I wouldn't put it up here with Night Sky because we had things to say. We
had problems. I mean, the second episode is an hour and 21 minutes.
Yeah,
it's a long-winded episode.
Yeah, it wasn't like it was definitely not Knight's Tale, but it was good. Is it Cars?
No.
What is it?
Flintstones.
Flintstones. Meet the Flintstones.
Oh boy, did we watch some bad movies.
There was a time in CityWavesCinema, and it's going into this era, that was literally the epitome of the worst movies we've ever watched for this channel. Flintstones was not as bad as
It wasn't as bad as the next one.
But it wasn't like look at all these quality movies. Like we got Knight's Tale, we got The Mask, we got Harry Potter, and then there's the Flintstones.
The Flintstones, starring a star-studded fucking cast.
It was a great cast.
John Goodman, Rick Moranis, Rosie O'Donnell, Halle Berry, Elizabeth Perkins, Elizabeth Taylor. There's so many really good actors in this movie. And Harvey Korman. There's so many good actors, and it sucks donkey dicks.
But can we talk about, like, actually, though, like, if we're talking about people that have acted as, like, cartoon characters, that cast was, like, perfect. Like, they did a really good representation of a live action, what you think the Flintstones would look and function like. The set dressing was cheap enough that it looked cartoon. Like, it was a cheap set, and there were cheap props, but it kind of fed into the feel of, like, the Flintstones. Like, it is like a Hanna-Barbera cartoon. And it kind of just hit all the right notes for me. Like, it's just a really good feel-good movie. I'd probably put it in C.
I'd put it in F. It's
really?
Well, no,
You're gonna put it with the Hangover?
I'd put it in D. I'd put it in D. Because it's just... Yeah, the cast, the set, that's all really great. They even act really well. The story
is really bad.
Is so bad. It's just bad.
It also kind of destroys, like, one of your favorite characters. Like, a long-standing, like, family man like Fred Flintstone is...
It is the deconstruction of the Flintstones characters, but... while they're being the Flintstones characters.
Okay, I can put it there because of that.
It's like, you can only get so far in casting as well as you did, and building the, like, cartoony sets as well as you did, but Jesus Christ, the Flintstones 2, which is not the Flintstones 2.
To let podcasts know, we did settle on D for the Flintstones.
Yes, D for the Flintstones.
Next
up is Viva Rock Vegas.
Is there a tier lower? Because I would watch The Hangover Part 3 again.
Viva Rock Vegas is so goddamn bad.
They brought the alien in, which is such a tough plotline already from the cartoon. And they brought him in, and I can't think of his name right now, which is depressing as a 90s kid, but I've had a lot of wine. We've also talked about a lot of things, but, like, they bring the alien in, which is one of the weirdest plot lines in the Flintstones lore as it is. They change cast members because it's a prequel. It's a prequel to the Flintstones because this is like the meet cute for Fred and Wilma and Barney and Betty and all that jazz. But it was filmed after. And it's jarring because they don't have any of the same actors, and they got more money for this one because the first one did so well. The quality is noticeably different. It's bad. It's all bad. And they ripped off the plot from the Titanic.
Yeah, it's front to back one of the worst movies I have ever had the unfortunate pleasure to watch. It's not a movie I would watch on purpose. Again, it is not a movie I would have watched to begin with. It is... The cast is bad. The acting's bad. The direction is trash. The sets are mediocre. And all in all, it's just... If the Flintstones is in D, then the Viva Rock Vegas should be buried 6 feet under F. It is so bad, but it lives in F because that's the worst tier.
The Hangover Part 3 is better than Viva Rock Vegas. By a
significant margin.
By a lot.
The
acting was also bad in this one.
It wasn't. Everything was bad. There's not a redeeming quality about the Flintstones Viva Rock Vegas. There's just not.
I can make some arguments for, like, Hangover Part 3, but I cannot make a solid argument. Again, and they ripped off the entire plot from the Titanic. Carry on. What's the next movie?
Secrets of Dumbledore. Secrets of Dumbledore. No. It gets to be in C for me because Tina's not in it until the very end.
It has to go in F because they fucking fucked over Johnny Depp and ruined the entire... That movie would have done so much better because the chemistry between Jude Law and Johnny Depp as Grindelwald and Dumbledore in this movie would have been phenomenal. And they decided to fucking not wait a goddamn second to see how this court case played out and threw Johnny Depp out of that fucking movie. Okay, I'll say D. I'll say D because it also gives me the crab dance, and I could watch that on repeat.
True facts.
For the rest of my life.
It has one of the funniest moments in a single Wizarding World movie.
It might be one of my top tier, like, even out of some of the Harry Potters, like, it's one of my top tier Wizarding World.
It's also the penultimate sequence of events with Kowalski and Queenie, which is a really lovely little side plot. The main plot of this movie is actual trash. The plot itself.
It doesn't matter.
Here's my gripe with this movie. Because it might be one of the best written Wizarding World movies ever. Here's the problem with it. Because the studio bent and kicked Johnny Depp off the cast, they had to swing hard to bring somebody in to get people to go to the movie. So they went and got Mads Mikkelsen. Mads Mikkelsen is a phenomenal actor. He is a great villain. He is menacing. He has powerful delivery. He is a great actor. If they had got Mads Mikkelsen from the jump, I think it could have been one of the best movies to come out of the Wizarding World in a minute.
I also think that if they had kept Johnny Depp, it could have very well done the same thing.
Same thing. They really tried hard to rectify a lot of the problems that the previous movies had. They had good dialogue. They had less plot holes. They didn't have no plot holes, but they had less plot holes. They had a really interesting side plot with Queenie and Kowalski. They had Newt Scamander doing fun little Newt Scamander shit that he should have been doing from the get-go. They did their best. They moved
him to a definite side character.
Yes,
this one.
They moved him to a side character. And they did a lot of things right with this movie that should have made it better. But they fucked it by not starting with Mads Mikkelsen or keeping Johnny Depp. You had to do that because you chose to make that plot line with Dumbledore and Grindelwald the main storyline. So you chose to take your lead, throw him to the wolves, get a new guy, and let him get shit on by the public for filling a role he was never supposed to have, but has it anyways. And Mads Mikkelsen acts his ass off. He does his best. But he never had the time to develop the chemistry with Jude Law. He never had the movies prior to build up the character for himself. He got fucked in this movie. And it's not his fault. This movie is bad for a lot of reasons. It is not his fault. Yeah.
Can we also talk about one of the stupidest plot lines to ever come out of the Wizarding World of Credence? Being a fucking Dumbledore?
What a terrible, terrible pivot to making one of the most intense potential bad guys a surprise good guy. That sucked balls. Making, yeah, it's gotta be F, and I hate that.
I'm gonna argue D for all the things that we did say about it, like the crab dance. Like, it's gotta go to D just for the crab dance, honestly.
The crab dance should start to shit.
Can you do it for me? Can you please?
All right.
James, okay. Only James can do it, because I cannot.
It's all in the hips, baby. It's all in the hips.
That is a line from the movie.
So, that is a line from the movie. So, you gotta get down a little bit, because you gotta be in a little bit of a squat, right? And your arms gotta come out here like you got little crab hands, okay? And you gotta swivel the hips as you sort of shimmy along. And you just sort of, you gotta, because they're doing it on the ledge. So it's all like almost sexual, and it's weird, and you don't like that. But at the same time, watching Eddie Redmayne do that, after all the very serious roles Eddie Redmayne has been in, it's one of the fucking funniest things I've ever seen. We rewatched the moment when we did the episode like a couple times. It's a movie you should watch. It is not a movie you should put a lot of weight into, because it's the corporate world tripping over their shoelaces with a good idea.
All right. Sorry, I really
fuck
needed the crab
happened after
dance.
that?
I know we don't really have time for the
I
crab
don't give a
dance.
shit. We got time. We're gonna make it a long episode anyway.
Yeah, the next
All
two
right.
are gonna be like this.
Next up, another McConaughey treasure, The Gentleman.
Okay, this is gonna be probably our most divisive one because I want to put this in F because you could put a gun to my head right fucking now. And I knew this because I started looking back this week in preparation for this episode at all our stuff and listening to things. Gun to my head right fucking now. I could not tell you a single thing that happened in The Gentleman. I don't know the plot. I don't know what it is.
I have to stop you because canonically, what you're saying now is the opposite of what you said in the episodes.
All right, just show me the fucking receipts.
The descriptions of the episodes are as follows. The Gentleman Part 1. This is one of my favorite new movies, which I wrote. And you know what? America didn't even hate it. So that's a huge win in my book.
So C. I don't know what happened during this fucking
movie. And The Gentleman Part 2. For once, it's a Matthew McConaughey movie that America doesn't hate entirely. And the soundtrack is banging.
Okay, so C.
And frankly, how could we be disappointed in it? That's right. We can't be disappointed in it. It's fantastic.
I cannot let it go above Sahara, so it has to go in C.
Oh, it's the same level as Sahara. It's an A-tier movie.
No.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, this is one of the most it's another Colin Farrell movie, which we watched right after Colin Farrell movies. It's McConaughey at his finest as a cool drug guy, which is just McConaughey in real life. It's Colin Farrell being excellent. It's like a modern gangster movie is what it is. It's just a modern gangster movie.
I might actually have to watch this movie again because I don't remember.
The plot is McConaughey is the weed kingpin of England, and he and his wife runs this auto body shop that is a little shady, and there's a bunch of criminal people that are trying to either buy his business from him or take it in a hostile fashion, and you just watch this sort of swirling plot unfold. Hugh Grant's in it, and he's cringy and awesome. And there's plot twists and lots of players die off in wild ways.
So like the only thing I'm really like remembering from this movie, and I did move it up into B just in case you're keeping track at home and not watching this right now.
The Gentleman gets a B.
I just remember the fucking whiskey glass.
The whiskey glass?
Or like the little glass of alcohol that he has in the bar at like the beginning and the end of the
I thought he had a pint and blood splatters.
I thought it was just a whiskey glass.
Either way, it's one of who directed it? Hold on. It's one of my favorite directors. It's such a good movie. And like I knew it wasn't gonna do well with you. Oh shit. And I'm sorry. It is Guy Ritchie.
There
we
we
go. I
go.
love me a Guy Ritchie movie. They're all gangster movies.
Can I make an argument to move Sahara down to C then?
I'll allow it.
I just can't have two Matthew McConaughey on principle. I cannot have two Matthew McConaughey movies in B. No, because Sahara, I like Steve Zahn. Fine, they're both in B.
They're both in B. I mean, there's just so many good things about.
We will be sharing this tier list on
It'll go
social
on socials.
media.
Okay, After the Gentleman is a movie I didn't think you would like, but you liked a lot. The Accountant.
I fucking love that movie. That's a great movie. That can go in A for me. Easy.
I love it a lot. I'd put it in S.
So A. I cannot put it in S. It does not go up there with Knight's Tale. I had too many problems with it.
The Accountant is in my opinion, not as a learned professional, but in my opinion, it is a really good portrayal of high functioning autism.
Yes.
As a learned professional.
I was like, I talked a lot about that on the episode, and you should definitely go listen to it, because if you don't know, for the past 3 years of my life, I've been a behavioral therapist I have credentials, like I went through a whole test and everything, as someone who deals with children with autism. It was really good. I talked about it a lot on there. Sorry, I went really quiet.
You got quiet because you were getting real.
I got really
You gotta get
serious.
performative.
I got really serious. No, it was excellent. It was really good.
It's also a badass action movie.
Yeah, it's good. It's in A. I'm not putting an S. I can't put it with Knight's Tale. I'm sorry. Mainly because I think I found one plot hole or something in there during the episode. But what's next?
Ocean's 8.
C. It was
Ocean's 8 is unremarkable, unrememberable. It has an incredible cast and it has a mediocre story. And
the writing was funny. The writing was funny.
It does not live up to how good the original 3 Oceans movies were in any way.
It also does not, and because it's an Oceans movie, I think that detracts from how awesome that cast could have been doing anything else.
I would love nothing more than if you retooled the characters, changed the name, and made it not an Oceans movie, and just did a lady-fronted heist movie. That would have been dope as hell. But the fact that they labeled it, the fact that they tried to drag it into the Oceans movie universe, really, like, it ratcheted up the level of expectation for it. It's kind of what happened with some of the Harry Potter movies. I think the production choice, way before the script ever even got greenlit, of trying to follow up the Oceans 11, 12, and 13 with George Clooney with another one that was like fronted by women was a decent idea, but I think it pays off more if you take Oceans out of it and you just make it a badass heist movie that girls run. It could have been so good just like that, but it wasn't.
I also think you would have gotten even more viewers for it because people were already mad because this was also during the time of like the Ghostbusters remake with the ladies cast.
Yeah.
So like we were in this thing of like just putting women into franchises
just gender
where they
bent the shit out of all kinds of stuff, and a lot of times you really don't need to do that.
And it made people angry. And so I think if you pulled that all out of there, they would have, because of the cast and the attractiveness,
a star-studded cast.
You would have pulled more people into it because they wouldn't have been angry that it was an Oceans movie. So, but honestly, as a movie itself, it's really good. It was good. It was fun. So C. Next is
The Sorcerer's Apprentice.
I have so many mixed feelings about this movie.
It is one of the greatest dumb fucking movies.
It's so bad, but it's good.
But it's so good.
It's kind of, like this one falls in Cinderella with me, where like just on a standalone, it is not a good movie.
I don't think the plot is good at all. But
so
Nicolas Cage is in it, and he puts on one of the top 5 Nicolas Cage performances to ever Nicolas Cage. Okay? It is so fucking good. And Jay Baruchel is in it, and he is tremendous in this movie.
He's really good.
It is so fucking dumb, but it is so fucking funny and so memeable. Every time Nicolas Cage says words, it's like a nugget of gold of like, he just is him. He's just Nicolas Cage. And we've made it a cultural phenomenon that Nicolas Cage just is Nicolas Cage in all his movies. And this is like the pinnacle of that. It's so good, but it's so bad. The script is bad, and it is salvaged from destruction by Jay Baruchel and Nicolas Cage. If you put any other actors in those roles, the movie is trash. But because of those two, it's B. It's got to be B.
Because you think it's better than Sonic?
I think it's an A-tier movie.
Okay.
But if you're calling it C, it has to live in B.
All right, so B it goes.
Because for me, it's an extremely pleasurable garbage.
I picked that movie because I've seen that movie, and I thought you were going to tear that movie apart because everyone else tears that movie apart. But it's so dumb and
silly. It's so dumb,
it's funny. That's how I feel about Cinderella.
That movie is also so dumb, but it's worse because they did a bunch of dumb shit they didn't need to, and they made it. The Cinderella movie had the potential to be so dumb it's funny, but they fumbled the fucking bag. And they made it much, much worse. Probably over some office politics. But it's just no good. Ghostbusters Afterlife.
A really good movie.
Really good movie.
This was the phase where we went through where we just
watched like 5 really good movies in a row.
Yeah, because I think it started
with The Accountant.
It started with The Accountant, then we did Ocean's 8, then we did Sorcerer's Apprentice, and like we kept going and we're like, we haven't had this.
We're also counting The Gentleman because you didn't shit on The Gentleman like I thought you were going to.
True, and I like some of these were definitely setups. Like I set you up with Sorcerer's Apprentice.
And I set you up with The Gentleman, and neither of those episodes is extremely contentious.
They're not the best episodes of the podcast, if we're being honest. And then Ocean's 8 was also just kind of like, we're like, it's
fine. Ghostbusters Afterlife is actually a really good revamp of the Ghostbusters franchise.
We should just pretend the other one doesn't exist.
We should definitely pretend the other one doesn't exist. I think it's an A-tier movie. I think it's a big budget grand slam that I think got panned a little bit by critics. But I think it's a good audience movie.
I think the acting's really good and the girl is really great.
She's great. The callback to the OG guys, phenomenal.
They all did little cameos. Yep. It was good.
It was good. It was just good.
I will also say, like, fuck, I lost my train of thought. This did for me what the first Jurassic World movie did. Like, it was new, it was revamped, it was nice to look at.
It had great actors.
Great actors, and it did enough callbacks that you're like, hey, I remember that nostalgia button.
The Stay Puffed little marshmallow demons. What a great idea.
It like did it perfectly. Don't pay attention to the rest of the Jurassic World movies after that, but that first one just hit all the right nostalgia buttons in my brain to give me that like dose of like happy juice in my brain, the happy hormone, and Ghostbusters Afterlife did that too. Like, you get these little snide callbacks, if you know moments. Like, it was so good.
All right, we've caught up to October of 2022. So we still have a year's worth of episodes to go.
All right. This is like an actual City Waves gaming episode.
Yeah, we're going to be going for longer than any other podcast episode before. Next up, Titanic.
Okay. I'm gonna Nope, let me go first because yours will be longer. Just let me get my piece out.
It's not gonna be longer, just go.
I would put this in S tier for a lot of reasons. Because we talked about this on the episode, the amount of cultural tropes that we get because the Titanic exists. There's so much. We just talked about it with Viva Rock Vegas. There's so many movies and TV shows and everything that have ripped off scenes or moments or iconic quotes from the Titanic is extensive. If you take that movie away, you lose all of that. Not to mention, it was at the time one of the most
expensive, biggest production,
and most popular movies that existed at the time. So much so that people were willing to pay for 2 VHS tapes, aging myself a lot, 2 VHS tapes just to watch the damn thing. And it's one of the best-selling movies of all time. There you go.
It's mid. It is a lot of really good acting in a movie about an event that really happened and as a huge tragedy. The problem with Titanic for me is not that it's bad, because it's not really bad, is it? It's rather good, actually. But watching it is such an awful experience. I cannot say I like that movie. I'll never watch it again. I think it's worth watching one time. I would put it in D if I could, because I am so horrified that I've had to sit through such a traumatic and awful experience.
Then it goes in B, because
it's gonna live in B. But that's not to take away everything that you said. It is one of the pinnacle movies of all time. It deserves its spot on the list of great movies. It deserves all the credit that it's ever received. But because of my own personal experience with the movie, I'll never watch it again. I like Billy Zane. I love Leo DiCaprio.
You talked a lot about Billy Zane.
Listen, Billy Zane is a great actor, and he is a monstrous asshole in this movie. It is super good. I'll never watch it again, and I will not regret never watching it again.
James also makes only the second person in my entire life I've ever seen not cry at Titanic.
I could not cry. it is not. It's just a horror show. It is so traumatic. It is just a horror show the whole time.
All right, carry on.
Little Shop of Horrors.
Little Shop of Horrors
is, I think, better served as a musical.
Definitely.
On Broadway.
Yeah.
I think the movie is feel-good trash. I think it is an incredible Steve Martin performance.
Excellent.
An extra interesting character he plays.
You get Jim Henson Workshop Gold.
Rick Moranis plays every Rick Moranis character there has ever been in the movie.
Yes.
And it has to be almost F for Audrey. Not the plant Audrey.
Not Audrey 2.
Not Audrey 2.
Great performance.
The person Audrey.
And the character voice.
The character, the voice. It is one of my least... It's up there with Tina Goldstein as one of my least favorite characters. Not because she's, like, sick and twisted. It's just such an awful thing to have to watch. She's a lovely lady. That's not her real voice. She's doing a character voice. She got told to do that.
Yeah.
It got approved. Every time she opens her mouth, it is a nightmare. She is a dumb character played by a lovely actress who does a terrible voice. It's a waste. It's sad. It's unfortunate. It cannot be as bad as Tina, but it's not good. It's mid. It's C.
See, I was gonna say just because of, like, everything, I would put it in, because it's, like, almost on the same tier as Cinderella, like, where it was, like...
Oh, really? I think it's much more... I think it's better.
Oh, I was going about the way you were talking about it.
Oh, okay.
But no, I'd put it in C.
I'd put it in C. It's a straight mid movie.
Okay.
Okay, Little Shop of Horrors. Then we got The Haunted Mansion, which I did not hate. I did not like it, but I did not hate it.
It's got to go in D. That's an easy D for me.
It's feel-good trash. If you like it, you like it. If you don't, you're never going to like it.
I was like, I don't even know if I'd put it in feel-good trash, but it's not as bad as Viva Rock Vegas, so it can go there.
It's certainly not as bad as Viva Rock Vegas. Chippendale Rescue Rangers.
Such a good fucking movie.
A surprisingly good movie.
I had also, enough time had passed that I'd forgotten what Ugly Sonic looked like, and the fact that they got the entire character rendition through some legal loophole bullshit was excellent. Everything I loved about it, like, everything.
Chippendale Rescue Rangers is as good as Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Agreed.
It is culturally, it's not going to be as culturally impactful as Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
No, because it's been done before. But I think it is just as good in every way, and it makes use of multiple animation styles. It makes fun of making useless sequels. It makes fun of turning, like, 2D into CGI.
It lampoons the shit out of the industry while also being a really good movie from the industry. I would put it in A. I'd watch it again and again.
I'd definitely put it in A, because I think they even acknowledge the predecessor, if I'm remembering correctly, and they call out Roger Rabbit. Like,
also, John Mulaney is just funny in it. He's just
really
funny
good.
He does a great job.
Yeah, it's honestly an A, and I might even push it into S later on, depending on how this works out, because I don't think we had a single bad thing to say about the fucking Rescue Rangers movie. If you, like, honestly, if you have not seen it yet, and
it's worth a watch. If you need a movie and you want to laugh, it is worth a watch.
If you've been putting it off because you're like, reboots,
it's probably going to be shit. It's not shit. It's in fact the opposite of shit. It's quite good.
I will say, out of all these reboots that we're getting, every once in a while, there's 2 in here. There's 2 in here. There's every once in a while you get a little golden nugget out of there, and you're like, yes, I like that. But that's the problem, is then everybody tries to make them, and then.
Speaking of golden nuggets, this isn't one. Jungle Cruise.
Fucking put that in F, for the love of all that is good.
I think... I don't necessarily think that it's a good idea to continue the trend of making movies based on rides at theme parks. However, if you were going to do one, The Jungle Cruise, much like Pirates of the Caribbean, is a long ride that is interesting, it's fun, it's campy, it's funny, it's a great time front to back.
Mm-hmm.
The movie forgot to do any of those things. And they relied wholly on the casting of Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson to make this movie a big seller. And then when he signed on, they were like, I wonder if we can trick other good celebrities into being in this movie. And they threw a bone at Emily Blunt. And she was like, shit, yeah, I'll do that. And that was a mistake. Emily Blunt's character in this movie is ass. She's just bad. Not good, horrible, very bad in every way. Almost Tina Goldstein bad. She is so awful to the main character all the time. But it's one of those movies where I think it had so much potential. I think it could have been super interesting because there isn't established lore about there isn't established lore about the Jungle Book. Or not the Jungle Book. There is established lore about the Jungle Book. There's not established lore about Jungle Cruise. And they did try really hard to make lore about Jungle Cruise. But I think they forgot to get good writers. And instead, they spent their whole budget on good writers, on Dwayne Johnson's salary, and Emily Blunt's salary, and Paul Giamatti's salary. They got a couple of big stars, and then they tripped over their shoelaces when they wrote all of the lines.
I put it in F tier for the sole reason, and I've told you this because I realized it again as we were preparing for this episode. I constantly forget that we did Jungle Cruise. Like, I feel like I've blocked it out of my memory. Like, it was that bad I never want to remember it. It's like literally constantly forget that we watched that fucking movie.
It's bad. Oh, it's bad.
It's so bad.
It's so bad.
And every time I remind it, it's like I have PTSD. Like, I get like trauma response. I'm like, God, no, not again.
I think I raged against Emily Blunt's character. Not to say Emily Blunt's a bad actress. She is she's one of the better actresses of the current times. Holy shit, that character's so bad. There's not a redeeming quality about her. Not even one. And then at the end, when the sacrifice of a character is supposed to happen, they go, oh, and they pussyfoot their way to not having the sacrifice actually happen. They could have just ended the movie with him giving up. And it would have been noble, and it would have been good. It would have been a really great ending to a pretty bad movie. It would have redeemed it a lot. And they were just like, oh no, we need to make sequels. Bring him back. Fuck off. Just kill a motherfucker, dude. Just kill him off. Let him be gone.
The amount of times I've said that in modern media as a whole, like between like Game of Thrones and
production companies are just so afraid to pull the trigger on killing characters. Game of Thrones, incredible. They kill everybody. They didn't give a fuck. It's what hooked so many people.
And then they just brought Jon Snow back to life for reasons.
Not even Kit Harington knows why.
And then the other one that just recently happened was Stranger Things with Hopper. Like, that was a huge fucking monumental
Let him be
scene.
dead!
Like, it was so good. It was tragic.
I know David Harbour is so
heart-wrenching.
fun and so interesting and such a good character, but let him be dead!
Like, yeah, like, it was such a powerful thing, and then they were just like, just
kidding,
kidding.
he's in Russia.
And I was like, fuck you. Fuck you. Because that just makes me feel like I mourned for nothing.
And a lot of the times, just to go on a tangent about storytelling, if you want to make stakes, kill a character. If you want to make a movie where stakes aren't real and there's not real tension ever, bring a character back after killing them. Because as soon as you do that, as soon as you bring a character back from death, you let the audience mourn and you bring them back, you kill any seriousness that the movie ever had or the show ever had to offer. You ruin yourself. You just give up all the grip you had on your audience because there's no reason to care if a character's going to die because they might just be back next week. They might just come back in the sequel. You know what was so sad at the end of the first Fantastic Beasts movie? When Jacob Kowalski gets the memory erasure. That's such a powerful moment. And then he's just there for the next couple of movies like we didn't do that? Oh, fuck off. I liked him so much. But if you're gonna fucking make a big thing happen to a character, you can't walk it back. It's cowardly. It's bad writing. It is corporate bullshit.
It is. It comes down to, oh, they really like this character, so this character is going to get us money, so more of this character, please.
Fucking stop. Make the character have intrinsic value. Anyways.
Next movie. F for Jungle Cruise, just in case you're keeping track at home.
Shit fucking movie. Sucker Punch.
D.
I'm going to agree D. Now, I had a thought during the break.
I love Sucker Punch.
About what I think Sucker Punch actually is. I think... No. It's in D.
Oh.
I think Sucker Punch has one of the stupidest fucking plots of all movie history.
It's so bad. I love this movie
I think
so much.
Sucker Punch is an excuse to make an 1.5 hour long music video. I think if you pitch the idea of an 1.5 hour long music video to Michael Jackson, we would have had one of the greatest movies of all time in 1992. Okay? Instead, we get a bunch of insane dream sequence music videos strung back to back on a spider web of a plot that is so flimsy, if you look at it, it falls apart. With acting that is done by cardboard cutouts of people.
Hey, Vanessa Hudgens is in there.
Yeah, she forgot how to fucking act. The direction is trash. The characters don't learn shit. They don't grow. They're not interesting. They're just sad.
Jenna Malone is in that movie.
And she's just sad. All the characters are sad. None of the... It's unclear if the whole thing is a dream sequence or if it's some Inception bullshit where it's 9 dreams inside of one dream that's not happening because what's-her-face is in a fucking orphanage or dead already. It's unclear. It's such a shit fucking movie. I'll fucking put it in F. It's so bad. God, it's a bad movie.
It has to stay in D, though, because I would put it in C, so...
Fuck, I guess it stays in D. It's so bad, there's nothing good about it. The soundtrack is the redeeming quality. You know how bad your movie has to be if the soundtrack's the best part?
Okay. I kind of feel the same way about it as I do Cinderella. Like, it's just brain candy. Like, yeah, the plot's really confusing and doesn't make much sense and kind of dumb, but...
It's like turning on YouTube Shuffle on the music video channel.
But I like to, it's pretty to look at. I like the, like, aesthetic, and also I have, like, a crush on, like, 2 of the female characters, so...
Dude, you watch every Billie Eilish video that she's ever put out in a row, and it's the same movie. The plot's the same. It's nonsense.
D. It stays in D. We're moving on.
Sorry, I didn't realize I was going to yell so much about that one.
I didn't realize you had such strong feelings about Sucker Punch. I feel like when we did the episode, you were just kind of like, yeah.
I mean, I forgot about how much I didn't like that movie. Spirited Away.
C. I don't think it's the best of the Hayao Miyazaki's.
I can't stand that fucking movie. I'd put it in D.
I don't think it's the best of the Hayao Miyazaki's. It feels the most rushed plot-wise. Like, I feel like there was a lot of lore and depth we could really delve into, and it just tried to go so fast because it was a children's movie.
It's also one of the most demented animated films I've ever seen.
It gave me trauma as
It
a
has
child.
so many allusions to sex work in a forced way that no way. That is not a children's movie. That is a movie for adults, and it is problematic.
It's also one of the first instances in my life I can track back to like legitimately giving me childhood trauma. So I'll put it in D. Even though it's a Studio Ghibli film,
a
and
Miyazaki film in the D category. Who'd have thought?
Not
Because there's a Miyazaki movie in this list that's gonna go way fucking higher than that.
Oh yeah, it is. I know exactly which one.
Next up, Dune.
D.
America Can't Stand Dune. I thought it was pretty great. I'd put it in A. So it's going to live in C.
Fine.
Listen, it's one of the first times I've seen Zendaya act, and I wasn't surprised at how mid it was.
I will say it's one of the few times I've seen Zendaya and not immediately hated the movie. So I can put it...
She did a fine job. Timothée Chalamet did an incredible job. Josh Brolin was great.
To be fair,
Daniel
I have
great.
legitimate reasons to hate Zendaya. It's not like a Matthew McConaughey situation. Like, I severely dislike her as a person. So for me to be like, yeah, no, she did okay in the movie.
She's had her issues. It's good. The dog is very upset about something.
I think he needs to go out.
Probably. All right. Black Adam.
D. It's funny.
DC heroes suck balls. DC villains are pretty interesting. There are some really dope characters in this movie.
The writing's funny.
The writing is okay. There are some really dope, but it's another one of those things where it's like, oh, he made a sacrifice, and the movie only happens if the sacrifice is just shoot away.
True.
It's plot-wise, it's a stupid fucking movie.
Yeah.
Character-wise, Black Adam is super interesting as a character. Is a DC anti-hero who has no qualms about doing murder. I think is a super interesting character. His sacrifice is learned but washed away, and I think that is just stupid. I think it's a series of great action movies, but I think all the side characters get so little time to be interesting that you get little nuggets of what could be dope fucking characters. And then also, they killed off fucking, what's his face? Fuck me, I can't remember his name. Fuck. I'm embarrassed because I really liked his performance in this movie. Shit. I have to go look now. Say words.
Okay. I was going to leave to take care of the dog for the next one because I can just throw this up here.
Pierce Brosnan!
Yeah.
Sorry. All right. Let's give me a moment.
No.
I need just a moment because this is gonna get loud.
Oh yeah, it's gonna get really loud. I'm gonna go take care of the dog. James, why don't you talk about cats?
Okay.
Explain the premise of why it's Cars 3 on the podcast.
Okay. When we were supposed to do a movie after Black Adam, the episode was going to come out on April 1st. Or I'm sorry, it was getting recorded April 1st. So we said we were going to do Cars 3. Because fucking, that's some silly shit. Let's do Cars 3. In fact, I think we actually had a vote and we maybe fudged it to be Cars 3 so that we could enact this plan. In which we did not watch Cars 3. We watched Cats. Or maybe I'm misremembering. I don't know. There was some plot that was hatched in which we disguised the review of the movie Cats as Cars 3. So we watched Cats. My wife is a big Broadway person, big theater person. A lot of friends were big theater people. Lovers of Andrew Lloyd Webber. What the fuck was that? Okay? First of all, we have to acknowledge that Andrew Lloyd Webber saw Cats and said, "What the fuck was that?" Now, I have been told that there is not a whole lot of difference between Cats the movie and Cats the musical. So it's an automatic F. Instantly, unashamedly F. Okay? Okay. Now, the plot of Cats is to have a talent show in which the winner is murdered. But due to the fact that Cats is a cult, everyone is excited to become murdered. This is, at its core, one of the dumbest fucking things I've ever heard. However, if you were to write a movie about a cult who held a competition of some kind in which people who were not in the cult could become a part of the cult, or people who were in the cult could ascend to another plane or another level, then it would potentially be a really interesting movie. But holy fucking ass, what an abysmal movie. And they don't even pretend to make it like subterfuge, like they're trying to trick people into dying. It's obvious. As soon as they tell you that you get in the chandelier and you go to your new life, it's very clear. And they've done it for years. They've killed hundreds, maybe, of cats. They do it every year. And what is Jellicle? What in the hot fuck is Jellicle? That's not a real word. It doesn't mean anything. It's not even defined in the movie. They don't even make up a definition for it. What? It's just a club name. There's no difference. Also, Idris Elba is magic. There's magic in the world. Taylor Swift's in the movie. Why? All she does is sex. It's wild. Jenny Anydots? What a horrible slave master. The mice are slaves. It's just, that's how it is. She forces them to obey her. And the bugs. The cockroaches too. There's so much madness. It's so bad. It's one of the most insane fever dreams I've ever witnessed. Ah! I'm a nervous fucking breakdown over cats.
We made a new category, for those of you that are listening to this later.
It's below F! It's the category called Cats!
Where there will probably only ever be one movie that lives there.
James Corden's in the movie just to get hit in the balls! Why? Give us the butthole edit! Ah!
Cats. Cats, everybody. Cats is its own category.
I'm so sweaty!
We're gonna move on. The next one... Sonic the Hedgehog 2.
Good movie.
Good movie. Great movie.
Good movie.
I wouldn't put it with Sonic the Hedgehog 1.
It's not as good as that, but Jim Carrey really does his best to try.
And you get Tails and Knuckles, and both were good renditions.
It's actually two movies with Idris Elba back to back, where one is really, really bad and one is decent. He has range, okay? He's an animated creature that is akin to a feline in both movies, and he's really good in one, and he's in the other.
Actually, just for some of Knuckles' throwaway lines, I kind of want to put it up here because it's honestly really funny.
I wouldn't put it up there for Knuckles. I'd put it up there just for Jim Carrey. It's not as good plot-wise as the first one, but Jim Carrey is so good in it. And
so I guess for this, it might be one of the rare instances, kind of like Shrek 2, where you have a sequel that can honestly hold its own in some ways.
It lives up to the first movie, not because the story is as good, but because they put so much extra shit in there that was actually quality.
Well, that's the same with Shrek 2. I would not say that the story of Shrek 2 is
I don't
anywhere
know. The
near
story of
as good
Shrek 2 is really fucking funny. The
But,
story
like,
of Shrek 2 has to live on its own. It's really fucking funny.
Never mind. We can't talk about
We
Shrek.
can't talk about Shrek 2. We can't.
Okay,
we have to move on.
we literally have to go.
Bruce Almighty. Another Jim Carrey movie that is really good.
Yeah.
I don't think it's as good as some other Jim Carrey movies. The Grinch.
The Grinch would
but
go in S tier.
The Grinch is an S tier movie. I think Bruce Almighty is an A tier Jim Carrey movie.
I was like, we talked
best.
about already that we'd put it on tier with the mask, so it's already got to go in A.
It's quite good. We really lean heavily on Jim Carrey.
We
here.
really like Jim Carrey.
He's very funny.
I love him.
For another Miyazaki movie, Howl's Moving Castle.
This one is the one that's probably going to do much better than Spirited Away. You have Christian Bale.
It's better in a lot of ways. I don't think it's a children's movie.
It's not. It's not a good story. It's not a happy story.
It's, I think, an incredible perspective on war and the ethics over war. But children have deep, deep memories attached to this movie, and I think that's problematic.
Are you talking about me?
Yes.
Oh.
But it's not just you. It's a category of people that you fit into.
My brother's in that category too because I showed it to him as a young child.
I think Howl's Moving Castle is a good movie. It's a good look at war. I think it relies too heavily on a lot of really mediocre tropes from other Miyazaki movies, but I think it's good. I give it B.
It's very pretty to look at too.
It is very pretty.
Calcifer, is that his name?
Yeah, Calcifer, Billy Crystal.
So good.
Tremendous job. Now for something completely different. A Million Ways to Die in the West.
Ugh. Can I put that in F, please? For the love of God. It's Seth MacFarlane. Let me have this
Yeah, but
one.
Charlize Theron is in it, and she does her goddamn best to make it not bad.
I also cannot agree with my thing because I'm looking at what's in F tier. And
it's better than what's in F tier.
It's better.
It's almost as good as what's in C tier. But it is better than what's in F.
I cannot give you, in good conscience, Dune and A Million Ways to Die in the West in C tier. You can have one or the other.
That's because Dune belongs at least a tier up.
Ugh.
It's a sci-fi epic on the level of Star Wars, but with a budget.
It's just confusing as fuck. I don't understand what's happening.
I'll give you this. Dune is one of the only movies where I've watched it and been like, I don't know what the fuck's going on or what any of this means, but still been entertained, nonetheless.
You get one or the other. I cannot give you both in C tier, and I cannot move Dune up.
Put A Million in D. Put A Million in D, then. After A Million Ways to Die in the West, Grease. F.
No.
F.
Not a chance in fucking hell. You have Olivia Newton-John. You have
all the sexism in the world.
You have John Travolta,
who is an entire man pretending to be a high schooler.
You have some of the most iconic songs from that era.
Every single thing in the movie is bad.
I cannot give you F.
John Travolta laughs like this. It's bad. It's a fucking phoned in John Travolta performance. I love John Travolta. He has been in some great movies that I adore. This is a phoned in John Travolta performance. Olivia Newton-John does her best to perform, but her character is garbage. She doesn't learn anything except change to appease your partner. It's sexist. It's problematic in every way. There are pedophiles in it. It is bad. Front to back, bad. Not a redeeming quality in it. The music is fine, but once again, it's kind of like a Sucker Punch, where everything about it is bad except the music.
I'm going to argue D as a cultural phenomenon, because it was a huge cultural thing.
Just because it's a cultural phenomenon doesn't make it a good one. You cannot watch that movie and tell me you learned good things from it. The characters do not have good arcs. A good character arc makes the character better by the end of the movie or dead. And this character arc makes the characters worse in every instance.
I'm gonna play a card I haven't gotten to play yet, but I'm gonna play it. Can I put it in D for my mom?
Fuck. A dead mom card?
Yeah, I'm pulling it. I'm pulling it. I'm pulling my card. I haven't gotten to use it yet.
On record, Grease is the only other movie that belongs in the Cats tier. There is nothing redeeming about it. I'll allow it in D. But I do believe in my whole heart that every other D movie in here is better than Grease.
I can't.
It's bad. It is just bad. And you know what? We went on a cruise after we recorded this episode, and we watched a rendition of Grease.
It was before.
Was it before?
You saw the cruise one before.
I saw the cruise one before this. The rendition of Grease on the boat is better than the movie.
No.
Not plot-wise.
I was like, no, you can't.
But at least the acting wasn't phoned in. At least the acting wasn't phoned in. It was just bad on purpose.
I'm getting called out in chat by even my friends. So
That's because Grease is bad. It's a bad movie.
Okay, but it can't go with Cats.
Well, you would put it in, what, C?
No, I would...
And I'd put it in Cats? It belongs in F.
We'll put it in F.
I'm sure the show is fine. Every character is bad. Every character is wrong. And then for a much better movie, Blazing Saddles.
I'll give you D.
You are going to put Where Are All the White Women At? In D? In D?
Yeah.
Under no circumstances. Mel Brooks is still alive, goddammit. That movie goes in S for me personally, in A for production overall. That movie belongs in B at the worst. It is one of my favorite movies.
Well, I say D, so I guess it goes in C.
Ugh. It's another contentious pick like Dune to be in C, but I guess allow it. Blazing Saddles, holy shit. You're gonna desecrate the memory of that poor man? Unreal. Blazing Saddles is so good. Blazing Saddles. Where would you put Robin Hood Men in Tights if we ever did that movie? In S? In S? You'd put Robin Hood Men in Tights in S, but you'd put Blazing Saddles in D?
Well, I was.
What kind of fucking heretic are you? I married a psychopath.
I was about to say, actually, it can move up to B.
Great! Do that! With haste!
But you wouldn't let me talk. You've been so yelly. Are you okay?
No!
Do you need to see someone?
Yes! We don't have time or money!
Do you want a hug?
No! Castle in the Sky.
Where's Howl's? I put it in C.
I liked it more than Howl's.
Ooh, really?
I had noted that it's the best one I've seen.
I'd move Howl's down to C and put Castle in the Sky in B. I'd do that. Because I like Castle in the Sky more than Howl's.
And I think Castle in the Sky was a better movie structurally than Howl's Moving Castle.
Isn't it one of the most early ones, too?
Yeah. It's an older one. It's also one of the few movies that have way less plot holes from Miyazaki.
Truth.
Everything is sort of tied up.
And this one has a floating city in the sky.
Everything is sort of tied up with a bow at the end of the movie. And you go, okay, great. That's how it is. It's maybe the best one.
Okay, yeah, no, I'm fine with that because I don't like Howl's as much as I like Castle in the Sky. This is my favorite one.
Bullet Train.
I have so many mixed feelings about this goddamn movie, but it probably has to go in.
I mean, I'd put it in A.
I was
it's one of my favorite dialogue movies.
Absolutely.
In a long time. It's some of the funniest fucking character work. And there's a bunch of A-list celebrities who get like cameo moments where they fight Brad Pitt and die. It's so fun. It's a fun movie. It's dumb, but it's a fun movie.
It's really good. And I was about to say, I was like, I think the only reason I have such bad feelings about it now is because the recording of that episode
that was rough.
Was really bad for both accounts. Like, it was an awful...
Explaining the plot of the movie is really hard. Just go watch it.
Yeah, trying to explain it while you're also trying to, like, read funny notes you wrote later.
It's because the plot of the movie is 3 plot lines happening at the same time, and you're cutting between each of them in order. And it's so many jumps that it's difficult to keep track of who is where, what is happening. At the same time, every character is hilarious. It's really hard. It's really hard. And there's some heart-feel moments in it. It's a good fucking movie.
There's stuff that happens in the past.
There's a lot. It's a lot.
It's so good though. Go watch it, please.
It's John Wick level action
in like Kingsman speed.
With Kingsman with a Kingsman plot. John Wick action, Kingsman plot, Deadpool dialogue.
Yeah.
It is all so good. So it's an A-tier movie.
Yeah,
it's just an A-tier movie. It's one of the sleeper best movies we've seen in a while.
Yeah, it was really good.
Spaceballs.
Okay, no, okay, wait. I might have to do some things.
Okay. Like what?
Okay, no, I agree with the placement of Blazing Saddles here now, because if I'm going to rank, I'm looking at all my...
If you're looking at all your Mel Brooks movies?
I'm looking at all my Mel Brooks movies,
Blazing Saddles is better than Spaceballs.
Absolutely. Like, that would probably...
Spaceballs it's a C-tier movie for me. Because some of the meta jokes in Spaceballs are maybe the best of all time, but that's a dumb fucking movie.
It's so bad.
That's a dumb fucking movie. And it's a waste of John Candy and his talents.
That is true.
A astronomical waste of John Candy. After Spaceballs, we did Young Frankenstein. What the fuck is that?
El Dorado.
Oh, because I haven't put out episodes of El Dorado yet.
They're going out this weekend.
They go out tonight. At least one. Young Frankenstein. I think it is as good as Blazing Saddles.
Absolutely. It was really good.
I don't think it's better, though.
I know.
It's more serious and less funny than Blazing Saddles, but I think that's the point of it.
You just get two really great performances from the cast.
Gene Wilder is great in both.
Fantastic. That's actually why I was bumped Blazing Saddles up in my vote.
Because Gene Wilder's so damn good?
Yeah.
Yeah. Young Frankenstein, Peter Boyle's great in it. It goes to
Igor.
B. It goes to B. Igor switching his hump. It's great. Young Frankenstein, B tier. Last but not least, it is the most recent movie we watched. The episodes are not even out yet.
So a sneak
as of the
preview.
recording of this episode, they're not out yet.
So a sneak preview for those of you who are tuning in live.
The Road to El Dorado was the last movie we watched. Most recent episode recorded. If I'm recalling everything that we talked about in that movie, it is a DreamWorks movie that is a funny haha, but it's really kind of bad in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
I think it's a D tier movie.
It
has some really great moments in it.
It's got some memeable moments.
And it is a super waste of the only female character.
Yes.
A super waste of Rosie. She's just there to be his sex. She's just there to sex. But never have I ever laughed at a giving head joke before that hard. Holy shit. That moment in the movie is astronomically funny. His hair is so fucked up too. There's some moments in it that are really good. There's a lot of moments in it that are really bad. The plot is mediocre at best. It lives in D. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the tier list of every movie we have watched thus far. S tier, the only S tier movie we have watched thus far is A Knight's Tale.
Woo woo!
It is one of the only recorded instances of me being right about something that America said with her whole chest. All the way down to F tier, where Hangover, Viva Las Vegas, Jungle Cruise,
Hangover
and Grease
Part
lives.
3.
I'm
Hangover
sorry, yes,
Part-
Hangover Part 3. Should clarify that. Grease, Jungle Cruise, they all live in F. And one step below that, everybody say it with me, it's Cats. God damn, what a movie. What a man, what a man. What a mighty fine man. That... You can stop the recording, that's fine.
Okay.
For those tuned in, thank you for being here and suffering through the insane breakdown of all these movies. We've revisited some. I've had inflated opinions as of late about these movies. You guys are the reason we keep doing this sort of stuff. We love you all. I hope you had fun. The next episode, I don't want to say the next episode is going to be as entertaining as this, because this is a spectacle, to be sure. But the movie we have selected for the next episode should warrant every single one of you tuning in. What date is it going to be? Mark it in your fucking calendars. It is going to be such a time. It's the 14th of October?
Mm-hmm.
The 14th of October is the next recording of this show. I'm out of town next weekend. The next recording of this show,
the 100th episode of the podcast.
The 100th episode of the podcast is going to be potentially one of the yelliest episodes of this show we will ever do. It is going to be potentially a Cats level performance. I already know what the structure of my complaints is going to be. I have not seen the movie. I have seen parts of it. I have read parts. I'll give you one hint. It's from a book. Cultural phenomenon. It's going to be one. You're just gonna have to tune in. I don't want to spoil the surprise, because it is going to be one. You're not going to get a better performance from me unless another astronomically bad movie exists that we have to watch. Okay?
I'm so excited.
It is going to be one of the greatest cinematic breakdowns of a movie that I will ever do.
I'm so excited.
It is October 14th. Mark it in your calendar. Write it on your hand. Write it on your forehead. Get ready. I'm going to drink tea and water. We're going to come in sober. I might have to drink to make it through the whole show, okay? It's going to be such a pleasure to witness my entire mental breakdown. Tune in October 14th. Otherwise, we're back for... Are we doing any streams next week? Because
we're going to do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry
we're
about
streaming,
this week.
We're streaming Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday this week. I'm going to be a shell of a human because I'm working 10-hour days.
You might get some extra solo streams from America because she's bored.
I highly recommend tuning into them because honestly, right now, it feels like we're at a peak in terms of content creation for our channel in general, this show in particular. Plus, it's an excuse for you to get to see our beautiful faces, and we live far away from lots of you, and I miss all of you dearly. So, tune in Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, City Waves Entertainment on YouTube.com. That's it. I hope you had fun. This podcast episode will be live on October 14th for all of your revisiting pleasure. Good night. We love you. Goodbye.